Hello, this is Bryan. This is how we're going to introduce the podcast. John.
Yes, Bryan.
You know the way sometimes I will tell stories about us and you get uncomfortable because it's a bit... It kind of veers towards the truth and it's revealing something that you don't want out there.
Bryan, let me tell you, that era is over. I'm an open book now.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't feel uncomfortable anymore if I brought stuff up?
No, I think I'm comfortable with whatever we want to talk. Let's wrap, buddy.
I actually had a bit prepared. Can we do that again, John?
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game.
That was like the worst intro we've done, Bryan.
I know.
I find with Bryan, when he comes in very confident about an intro, it's either complete fire or just not quite there.
No, not there at all.
But you see, you've only started drinking your energy drink.
Yeah.
And I think the move would have been to so we did an intro, and then Bryan was like, John, you didn't react the way I wanted you to react, so we're going to do that again.
Yeah, you did a bad version of John, so do John better. You were like agreeing with me, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted pushback.
Okay, well, so what I was doing, Bryan, was yes-anding. It's an improv.
Yeah, fuck improv. Fuck that shit. Fuck anything to do with comedy. It's all about the misery. The funniest stuff out there is when someone's just like, got the results, not good.
Oh, Bryan. Niamh, help me out for the love of God.
I got nothing. I'm super tired.
To my left, the Lord of Misery, it's Bryan.
Really, really fucking feeling it.
To my right. To my right, it's the Sultan of Positivity, it's Niamh.
Sure, yes.
And to the center, the Obelisk of Neutralness, it's John.
Feeling John.
Feeling John. Guys, I went and watched them there. Dragon Ball Super Superhero.
I heard it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's not.
Oh.
Yeah. Internet loves this movie because there's a bunch of little bits that are like, remember this from Dragon Ball? Okay. The whole conceit of this movie is that someone throws an ice cream bucket on Vegeta and Goku's phone. So they
share a phone.
They are training with Lord Beerus.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They're still training with him.
Yeah. And they will be till the end of time. And so then they miss the phone call that a bunch of androids are coming back. This is the first Dragon Ball movie in 3D, and it's okay. Like, it doesn't look bad. I think the worst thing it does is it uses a very soft lighting style. So you have those big, chunky, sharp Dragon Ball characters and then a very soft, like, shadow on them. And it looks gross. Like, it looks very mushy and not nice.
Is it cel-shaded or is it...
It has a cel-shaded look. I think cel shading is like a super specific thing that's from one particular era that no one does too much anymore.
Yeah.
But it looks like, at a glance you'd be like, it looks traditionally 2D, you know? And like, the movie's not bad, but I feel like when you're following the kind of 3-hit combo of Battle of the Gods was fun because it was like, hey Goku, there's this whole other fucking range of people that are way stronger than you, so it pushed the ceiling up on the Dragon Ball universe. Like, it's not the greatest movie in the world, but it did something, you know? Then you have Return of F, which I found very cathartic because it was great to see Frieza again. It was great to see him all, because like, he's such an iconic piece of Dragon Ball, and he wasn't in it that much.
He was gold Frieza.
You know, he was gold Frieza, fucking brilliant. And then we finally got like the catharsis of Vegeta actually getting his proper revenge against Frieza. That was great. We got that metal song about Frieza. And then we had Dragon Ball Super Broly. Have either of you seen that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
Super Broly is awesome. I love that movie. I think it's really weirdly self-reflective on Dragon Ball as a series, because like the solution to beating the main bad guy isn't to like blow him into the sun. It's like, hey, you don't always have to be a violent monster. And I think that's really cool and kind of just interesting. I think that movie says a lot. And this movie is like, what if we made a movie about Piccolo and Gohan?
That's kind of a cute concept.
It is a
I like those guys.
it is a cute concept. I just wish they did something with it, because it starts off with kind of Piccolo coming to Gohan and being like, "You've neglected your training and now you're weak and you're just fucking a bug researcher." And at this point, like if Gohan wants to research bugs, I think just let him.
Yeah.
Just let him. You know,
he's made his own life.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Piccolo should be proud of that.
Yeah. And it's kind of, there are some really cute moments. Like we get a scene where Piccolo is training Pan. That's just objectively great. That's brilliant. Bunch of new androids show up. It's Dr. Gyro's grandson who's obsessed with superheroes. So the androids are all like superhero based. Until the final stretch of the movie, I'm gonna spoil the movie. A big bad shows up and they beat him, you know. But the big bad that shows up is Cell Max. And
Which makes sense if it's androids.
yeah, this was a huge letdown to me, because what do you think of when you think of Cell?
Like a weird
Bug
mantis man who
I
keeps
think
like
of
evolving.
that weird, like, leader of a book club snideness he has, and I love that about Cell. Like that is him. That is his weird psychotic swagger.
Yeah, his nasal kind of voice and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Cell Max is just a monster that screams and howls and looks like Cell. It has no personality at all.
Oh.
And it was a real kind of disappointing bummer. But then, like, you know, we get all these moments, like we get Gold Piccolo. I don't think they call it Gold Piccolo, but he's Piccolo and he's kind of gold and he's kind of muscly. It's fun to see Piccolo have a new form. They wish him to get stronger and he gets stronger.
That's a good wish.
Yeah, and it's like they basically is getting the shit kicked out of him. They have this callback to the Android 16 moment where like Gohan, you know, sees Cell and then awakens a new power, and his hair goes blonde and his eyes turn red, and there's a huge debate over the internet over whether it's Gohan going Ultra Instinct or a Super Saiyan version of Gohan's like secret Messiah form that he unlocked during the Majin Buu saga. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, I do not give a fuck which it is. I do not care at all. I feel like if I held a gun to Toriyama's head, he could not tell me. It's a new form. Someone screams, their hair changes, it's a new form. There is a really cool bit where Gohan uses Piccolo's Demon Ray. That was awesome, and Piccolo was like, I didn't know you could do that. And like the film looks nice in places, but it just felt like a very standard Dragon Ball movie. It really had the air of like the lower tier Dragon Ball movies of old, where it's kind of like they needed to make a movie about something and they went for this. And like, it's not terrible. I wasn't bored, but I thought it was a huge letdown after kind of how good the last three movies were.
So does Gohan use his bug skills with Cell?
So this is the annoying part, right? Like, Gohan, he just wants to fuck. He hasn't been training. He's gotten kind of scrawny. Piccolo's like, you need to be strong in case bad things happen. Sure. But then, like, they never commit to one or the other. They just, at the end of the movie, Gohan sees Piccolo is in trouble, rescues him, and then goes back to being a bug doctor. But, like, there's no, like, Piccolo, this is what I really want to do, which would have just tied the whole film together. Like, something that would have been so great. But there's nothing, you know?
And he doesn't use his other skills in...
Oh, no, the fact that he likes bugs is a detriment to his character.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I feel like there was a few thematic things they could have, like, put in there.
I feel like in the last couple of Dragon Ball movies, they really went all in and really thought about what Dragon Ball was and how to expand it. That was not there for me. I feel like the reason people like this is because there's a lot of fan service in it. You know, there's a lot of, like, little nods and touches to what the characters are doing. none of it felt meaningful to me. A lot of it just felt like rib jabbing. Hey, do you remember this? And it's like, yeah, it was okay, but
is it showing like what Majin Buu and Mr. Satan are up to or anything like that?
Yeah, the whole gang appears at some point.
Like are Goten and Trunks just being kids?
They show up and they do the fusion dance wrong and turn into fat Gotenks, and that's what they do.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, this sounds like a great film. Sounds really...
I mean, like, I'm in the minority. People love it, so good on them.
There's a new One Piece film coming out in like a month or two. One Piece film Red, about Shanks' daughter. Because, he always had a daughter.
Yeah. Can't wait to see that. Gonna fold my arms and look crossed in the cinema the entire time, and then come on this podcast and complain about it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Based on just what you're saying, Brian, about someone having a plot daughter, I'm still watching Stranger Things season 4 and getting through it very slowly. If I could delete all the Hopper, Alaska, Russian stuff, I could. But Hopper has this big long monologue about how his life is shit because he's like toxic sperm. Sperm. Did that daughter exist originally? Did he talk about her before?
His daughter who died of cancer?
Yeah,
in season 1.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in flashbacks. There's a whole bit where he's reading a picture book to her in a hospital bed and all that. Do you remember that?
What happened to his wife?
They divorced because they couldn't hold a relationship together after their daughter passed away.
Okay.
So they separated and divorced.
Wow, I could not remember that at all. And I was just like, is this just being added in?
I really liked that stuff in season 1 because it was like, it made him really sympathetic and like, it just kind of exposed him in a really interesting way.
Wow. Season 1 Hopper is kind of miles away from season 4 Hopper.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just like...
Season 4 Hopper is like a James Bond character.
Yeah, it's...
It's ridiculous.
It's like the Michael Flatley Blackbird movie where it's just like, oh, this is a character for dads who are...
It's so confusing because...
Michael Flatley...
Oh, so Michael Flatley is having his, like, I guess...
He's making an action. He's made an action movie called Blackbird.
Making an action. It's in the Lighthouse currently.
Not to be confused with the TV show Blackbird.
How would you guys describe Michael Flatley for anyone who's unfamiliar?
If you, well, I don't think anyone's unfamiliar with Riverdance, John.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance.
Who's now retired for Riverdance because he can't dance that fast anymore. He lives in a mansion, and a couple of years ago, people broke in and stole his rhinoceros horn.
Oh no.
Because he's that kind of wealthy where he doesn't know what to spend his money on.
Yep. So he decided to fund a movie where he is both James Bond and John Wick, but the dog is a woman, and there's a lot of beautiful women around him, and he's like such a bad actor.
Niamh, this sounds fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's going to be such a meme movie. I'm pretty sure they're showing it in the Lighthouse just for drinking games.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's doing his own action movie called Blackbird.
It's like a big budget Fatal Deviation or something like that. It's just there's a TV show called Blackbird as well, and that just came out. So it's really confusing when you search Blackbird because you're like, no, wait, what? Michael Flatley?
But it's just when you see it and there's just like a 60-year-old guy being like, women still love me and I'm like James Bond. I kind of feel like that with Hopper, where it's just a little like... I feel like they're setting him up to be a superhero or something. Like they're just like, oh, he's full of toxic gunk as well.
He's invincible.
And now he's invincible, and he's also like, oh, I can't love a woman. I'm just dangerous. And it's like, okay, Hopper, you'll learn to love. It'll be fine. But all of that so far is terrible, and I fucking hate it. Every time it's on screen, I just like fall asleep. But I'm really liking the stuff with Max and literally everyone else. Everything else that everyone else is doing is really fun, but the whole Joyce, Hopper, Alaska stuff could really leave it behind. But that's my feelings on it, Brian.
It's a very long season.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
They just were like, do we need to cut this? And they were like, no, leave it all in.
Brian.
Yeah.
I'm glad my mom is dead.
I'm reading a book called I'm Glad My Mom Died.
I'm reading the same book.
Holy shit.
I know.
I'm really enjoying this book. For better or worse, it's captivating. Mm-hmm. You know the way we were talking about iCarly an episode or two ago?
Yeah.
So there's a character in iCarly called Sam, and she's Carly's best friend. She's the blonde girl. Carly's the brunette. The actress who played her, Jeanette McCurdy, she's now 30 years old, and she no longer acts. She's now a professional writer, and she's written a book about being a child actor and her abusive relationship with her mother.
Mm-hmm.
It is deeply upsetting and also kind of funny because she has a really weird sense of humor. Like, the book cover is Jeanette McCurdy, the actor, holding an urn with confetti coming out of it.
Oh my god! Wow, that's kind of great.
Yeah. How far are you into it? I'm like 40 chapters in.
Yeah, around halfway point.
Yeah,
it.
and like,
How long is it?
I think there's 90 chapters, but it's weird because the chapters are only like a couple of pages long.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of like a memoir, and it's like obviously her real life, so like kind of snippets of time. Some are longer stretches than others, like, you know, maybe she'll remember more from being like 6 that's relevant to it than when she was 8, where there's just one kind of anecdote, so each chapter is kind of a block of time.
Yeah, but they're all milestones, and they're all in chronological order for the most part. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's callbacks, but it seems to be fairly sequential. Because iCarly recently started re-airing because it got a reboot without the creator, because the creator was let go from Nickelodeon for misconduct.
For many reasons.
For many reasons. I don't want to say the creator's name. And neither does Jeanette in the book. She just refers to the creator as the creator. Because that's kind of a second source of abuse, but really it was encouraged by her mother to please the creator. But I know in recent years, because iCarly has had a comeback, and there's a lot of YouTube videos about like what really happened. So there's this weird hunger, and I know there's always that kind of like child actor, you know, not living a comfortable life, or that the life on camera is very different from the life behind the scenes. And like, this is definitely one of those books that kind of explains a lot of that, but it's her book, and she's really telling her own story on it, and it's her ownership. There's some stuff in this book that is genuinely horrifying.
Yeah, it's a hard read. Like, the title, like, I'm Glad My Mother's Dead, you read it and you're like, whoa, harsh. And then, like, you read it and her mother's just so abusive, and so manipulative in just a way that, like, this very small child is always consistently trying to keep the peace in her house and please her mother and have her mother's affection, but is also, like, just... Oh, the writing is on the wall so early on, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I can see why you're glad.
Yeah, like the stuff where, like, the hoarding in the house, when she was talking about the hoarding, I'm like, oh no. But then when she explains that, like, her mom had cancer in the mid-90s and beat cancer, but because she beat cancer, in the mom's mind, she had this weird complex where it seemed like she never recovered from it mentally and was hoarding stuff for nostalgia reasons. And then when they took the stuff away, she would get upset, and they didn't want to upset someone who had cancer, so they let her kind of have her way.
Right.
Yeah, the mom kind of used being a survivor of cancer to kind of worm her way into things.
And used it like 20 years.
That is some deep down shit.
Yeah, say Jeanette would do acting lessons, and no parents were allowed in the acting lessons because it would make the kids uncomfortable. But the mom was just like, I'm a survivor of cancer and I can't be out here in the sun walking around. So she was the only one there who would get in, and she would... It was just one of those kind of helicopter mom situations where Jeanette is trying to do her lines, but she can see her mom from the corner of her eye kind of exaggerating and saying the lines as well with her. And the mom would be really upset if Jeanette didn't enunciate how the mom thought she should. But then all the acting coaches were like, do it more naturally. And it's kind of this push and pull between Jeanette never wanting to be an actress, her mom being like, this is all I've ever wanted for you, her kind of supporting the family, you know?
Especially when she got iCarly.
Yep.
Because before that they were like living month to month
on 4 paychecks. It was like their grandparents as well.
Wow.
It's a really interesting book. I'm listening to the audiobook, and Jeanette McCurdy narrates it herself.
Same.
So like she has like this really dry, sardonic wit to her, that really, like, you're listening to some really awful things and you're hearing the person who went through them. Like,
a good narrator, especially when it's the person who wrote the book, can make
really
such
sells
a huge
it.
difference.
it's really, really good. Really heartbreaking. I'm glad she's doing stuff she wants to do now.
Yeah, because there is that bit earlier on where she like wrote a screenplay when she was like 9, and her mom was like, no, you want to act. And yeah, the bit where I'm at now, her mom wants her to be a country music singer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa.
Miley's big.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, I have been reading 2 memoirs that I'll mention super quick. Right now I'm reading Bob Odenkirk's comedy drama.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good. It's fun. Bob Odenkirk's a weird character. He comes across as very, like, peculiar and kind of unlikable in a weird way. It's a good book, but what I would say is, like, I think the person who is going to get the most out of this book is someone who grew up watching a lot of, like, late night American comedy, and especially, like, the more kind of fringe stuff like Mr. Show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, there is a lot in this that is just, I don't know what he's talking about, and it's still interesting to listen. But yeah, the other one I read recently was Mox. And this is by the wrestler John Moxley, who is the current AEW interim champion. And it's brilliant. I love it so much. It's like John Moxley made his name doing very, like, violent, hard-hitting matches. And it's really interesting hearing someone, like, break down that format from, like, a real artist perspective. You know, and it is, but, like, he really sees it as, like, this just... He talks about it like painting a picture. And, like, you know, wrestling is art. Like, that's what it is. But I've just never heard someone describe it like that. And, like, hearing all these interesting parts, like, as his life kind of got worse and his different support systems fell apart, his character became, like, his wrestling persona became more and more unhinged because, like, all he was feeding his wrestling persona was his life. And it's really interesting to feel, like, just how much he built himself up off that. And how he used that to feel real and authentic, and then that's kind of what ended up making him popular. And, like, there's so many things that you just never think about wrestling. He was part of this faction called the Shield. Have either of you ever heard of the Shield?
No.
The Shield was him, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Right now, 3 of the biggest wrestlers in the entire world, and they were this ultra cool. They'd come in SWAT vests. They look kind of like Umbrella SWAT team and just beat the shit out of everyone. And he was saying, like, a big concern for them, because they were new guys in WWE, is that people wouldn't sell for them because they'd be like, I don't want to sell. And their solution was always, well, there's 3 of us and one of them. And so they would actually just beat the shit out of other wrestlers. And if you went along with it, great. If you didn't, they would stomp the fuck out of you. And it's crazy to think of wrestling from those perspectives. I would recommend Bob Odenkirk's book to people who are really into, like, you know, like comedy or whatever. I'd recommend Mox to anybody. It's great, and he is like, this is like such a rough and, like, really someone who seems like he could legit beat the shit out of you, but totally has, like, the soul of a poet. Like, he's a beautiful writer. Like, he really... I think the writing in this book is, like, better than the writing in Bob Odenkirk's book, which makes no sense at all, but, like, it's really honest, and his performance and the snarl and the spit he puts on words, just it's like such compelling shit. I think I'm definitely going to download. I'm glad my mom died, because that sounds great.
Yeah.
If you like Mommy Dearest...
Oh, that is
Bryan, it's not that bad.
Niamh, did you get to the shower bits?
No. Okay, never mind.
Mommy Dearest. That is one of the most horrifying films I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus, poor Jeanette.
Yeah, no, like, she's fucking crushing it now.
Yeah.
And she looks great.
I think, like, when, like, you read a memoir, kind of like the opposite of Bob Odenkirk's, where it's like you don't need to know anything about the person at all, and you get so much out of it. That's a sign of a really good memoir. And I think this is it for me. Like, I've never watched iCarly, like, and I think this one's brilliant. I'm going to read John Moxley's. That sounds good as well.
I think you'd be into it, Niamh. And I think you'll watch a Moxley match, and then I think you'll be like, I love this person.
I watched him fight that guy.
We watched him,
yeah. That was amazing.
I
that was, like, one of the best wrestling matches I've seen.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I think I just wanted more from those two, because they are two legit, like, the best wrestlers in the world. And I was a little let down just because I wanted to see something fucking 7 stars or something. But...
It brought me in, and I didn't know what was happening.
At some point, we're going to watch another John Moxley match. But I really think you'd like it. Like, dude had a tough life, and yeah, there was some really good bits in Bob Odenkirk's book. Like there's one bit where he's talking about Chris Farley, and he's talking about like
because you used to work on SNL as well.
So Bob Odenkirk's worked with like literally everyone. Like there's so many names that come up, and I'm sure you'd know way more of them than I would, Brian.
He found Tim and Eric because they contacted him when they weren't famous, and he was the one who gave them like the opportunity to kind of like get their name in. And
he's talked about Tim and Eric. He hasn't talked about that too much because there's this weird like kind of self-deprecating bite to everything he writes, and it kind of feels very like a defense mechanism, and I think that's one of the things that's kind of stopping me relating to the book a little bit, because it's nearly like he's nearly hiding behind that, you know what I mean? But I was really kind of moved by this bit he did about Chris Farley, where like he said one of the reasons he was able to see Chris Farley kind of going the way he did was like there was always this really thin line between the jokes Chris Farley would make that was like laughing at himself and his own body, and jokes where he was just relying on his own charisma and his own performance. And he talks particularly about this one sketch he did for, I think it was Saturday Night Live with Patrick Swayze, where it's like the final Chippendales audition, and one is Patrick Swayze and one is Chris Farley, and the joke is that Chris Farley's fat and ugly. And there's this bit in the book where he talks about how like there's this bit where Chris Farley like rips his shirt off and like the audience laughs, and he says like for this split second you can see like just the pain and the shame on Chris Farley's face, and it's horrible, you know? And he's like, fuck that sketch. And shit like that was really sad and insightful. So like there is, I'm not saying that I'm not enjoying Bob Odenkirk's book, because I really am, but Mox's one just completely caught me by surprise. Like there's so much scenes of like him growing up in like Poughkeepsie, and just that is a tough place to grow up, and how all that informed his wrestling was brilliant. So yeah, that's good. Guys, I watched Tekken Bloodline.
Is it good?
Tekken Bloodlines?
The animated Netflix series?
The animated Netflix series
is it a mini-series?
6 episodes.
Okay, good.
I think as good an adaptation of Tekken 3 as you could reasonably hope for. It is always just on the cusp of being fucking amazing, but it consistently stays very good. That's not a bad thing. It's just that's the level I think this thing is at. I'm having a great time with this. I think one of the big problems with like fighting game, well, not just fighting game adaptations, but any video game adaptation, but I guess especially with fighting games, is like they'll see this big roster of characters and they'll be like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, okay, if we move this here and we move this person here, we can Balrog's a cameraman now, and Chun-Li's a news reporter. That's the Street Fighter live action movie, which does legitimately rule, but for very different reasons. Tekken Bloodlines is made by people who really, really fucking care about Tekken. Like a crazy amount. They switch some things around. They've taken Leroy, a DLC character from Tekken 7. He's the Wing Chun guy with the bulldog. And he's in the Tekken 3 tournament, which is not where he belongs, but fuck it, Leroy's awesome, so it's great to see him in there. But it's mainly focused on Jin Kazama, and it starts with him growing up in a forest with Jun, and then Ogre attacks, that goes the way it does, and then he joins Heihachi. These are really fun iterations of all the characters, and there's really like, if you've been a long time fan of Tekken, there's enough actual heart to the storytelling and enough saying things about the characters in like an interesting way. You know, like there's a bit where like Heihachi is so cruel to Jin. Like he's so like, he's like, okay, little boy, I am going to break you down and build you up in the Mishima fighting style. But there is like little nods of respect between them. Like there's this bit I really like where Jin's like, hey, Heihachi, I want fire on my pants. And Heihachi's like, no. And then later on, Jin has fire on his pants. So Heihachi was obviously like, okay, you've advanced. You know? And it's like there's little moments like that are great. Xiao Yu is fantastic. She's like really, just every scene she's in, she's like really full of life and energy. And everyone's fighting style feels so distinctive to their... not like I haven't frame by framed it. It feels like every single like move and attack sequence is pulled directly from Tekken. Like they do moves and I'm like, I know that combo, I know that combo, I know that combo, and it's really great to see. And like just there's a lot of little touches. Like at one point there's a flashback to Jin and Xiaoyu in high school. Jin's wearing his school uniform, the exact school uniform with the tartan pants from Tekken Tag. That fan service stuff is cool, but it wouldn't mean nothing like if it wasn't actually nailing the heart of Tekken, which I really think it is. This is Tekken 3, and there's this whole little sequence where like Jin is searching the internet to find old footage from the Tekken 1 and 2 tournaments to find out what happened, because he doesn't know. And then he finds like footage of like Heihachi throwing Kazuya onto the volcano, and he's like, what the fuck? And how much better is that than like in the beginning there was the Tekken 1 tournament? Like it's Jin finding out about it, and like it makes you, it humanizes Jin a bit. Like Jin's cool in this, and I've always had a bit of an issue with Jin because he was just like kind of just a cool guy, you know. But in this, like they make him feel kind of vulnerable, and like there's a softness to him as well. Like no matter how much Heihachi tries to beat it out of him, he always has like kind of Jun's warmth, which I think is really lovely. It also looks phenomenal. Like this is a 3D anime with 2D sequences, but it feels like for the character models, they haven't done what I feel like Dragon Ball Super tried to do, and it was just like emulate a 2D style. They have worked out this very exaggerated 3D style. Like Heihachi's feet are bigger than his head.
Wow.
He has these gigantic fists. Ogre looks like a walking tank. Like Ogre is just a giant cylinder of muscle, and it all looks amazing, you know. Xiaoyu and Nina, like their character models in particular, just look so fucking cool. They've taken Xiaoyu's like ponytails and like
her buns.
Yeah, her buns, and like made them really long and wild, and it looks awesome. There's one or two places where like Paul looks real ropey.
Really?
Paul looks like he's always about to burst into tears, because I think they gave him like an older man's face, but they just needed to scale down the eyes a bit, so his eyes just always look really giant and watery, and he looks a bit odd. But everyone else in it looks great, and like, you know, there's like sometimes music will kick in and you're like, oh shit, that's fucking Nina's stage from Tekken Tag and stuff like that, and it's really, really cool. I'm on the 5th episode now, and I'm having such a good time with it, and I really hope they make more, because I think this is going to just be the Tekken 3 tournaments. But at the same time, Bryan Fury isn't in it, so bad show.
How come he's not in it?
Because it's a bad show.
I feel like his story is so separate from their one. Although, doesn't he get hired as a mercenary for them at some stage? I don't know.
Probably.
They all do at some stage.
Yeah, whenever they don't know what to do with a Tekken
like
character,
Nina,
they're like,
yeah.
He's a mercenary
Eddie.
now.
Does Nina have an Irish accent?
No.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bad show.
It's erasure. It's erasure of our history. Niamh.
Don't like it.
Nope. Everyone should watch Tekken. No, okay. Anyone who gives a shit about Tekken, even a little bit, should watch Tekken Bloodlines.
Cool. Everyone should watch Nope.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I loved it. I came out of Nope and I was just like, oh, this is one of my favorite movies. This is up there with Horse Girl.
Wow.
Yeah. I love the horse movies, and this is one of them. Talking about erasure, it's kind of about that. It's kind of about the labor of Black people in film being erased over time. And I thought the way that was kind of thematically, it's just the movie, but the way it was like visually folded into it was really interesting. If you work in animation or film, or you did any study in animation and film, you've probably seen the sequence that this opens with, which is a black jockey on a horse and a sequence of images.
Yeah.
And it's like considered one of the first pieces of film. There's like debate about that, but I think that's interesting in terms of this movie as well, because by the end of it, the main characters in the movie are trying to capture an image, and there will be debate about who captured it first. And it's just a real like movie about movie making. So it is about a guy called OJ who works on his dad's ranch, and his dad trains horses to be used in film. And he has a sister called Emerald, who's kind of checked out of the business and doesn't really do it as much. She's living in the city. She's busy fucking girls, which I liked that.
She was so charming.
She was great. She really big dyke energy. Loved her.
Killer fucking fashion as well.
So it kind of starts off where the patriarch of the family dies, and now OJ is in charge of it. And I'm going to give light spoilers. I know Bryan hasn't seen it, so I'm not going to get into it too much because we'll probably talk about it again at some stage.
Okay.
But I don't want to talk about it too much because Bryan hasn't seen it, and I think the surprise of it is really strong. But it starts off with the OJ bringing one of the horses to a shoot, and no one's listening to him speak. But there's so much about eye contact in this movie, and that comes apparent with stuff to do later on. But he is finding it really hard to make eye contact with all these white people staring at him and asking him to do stuff with the horse, but they're not listening to him. They won't listen to a thing he says, and they finally bring over a big globe to the horse, and the horse goes crazy and kicks, and they take away the horse and they replace it with a CGI horse. And I thought this was really interesting because you're kind of talking about animal use in film, and how we've kind of shied away from that because it's like non-ethical. But then the way VFX houses are used currently is non-ethical. There's extreme burnout.
There's so much crunch.
Yeah, there's so much crunch. Google anything to do with Marvel and VFX.
So Michelle used to work in a VFX house for a couple of years, and like, you know, I'd spent, you know, multiple years in the animation industry, which is no fucking joke. But the shit she'd come home with was like, no, people can't act like that. Like, it was just people under such immense emotional strain, and it was fucked up.
So just like that idea of being like, can't use the horses, that's unethical. Let's get VFX in on it. Let's green screen this. Let's do this. And it's just like another person put in the kind of line of fire for this creation. But they also have another sub-story about an animal that does go wild on stage and cause a lot of damage. So it's kind of asking you to think about it from both sides, kind of like there is this animal that it was really unethical, there is this other animal where you have these professional trainers and handlers, and if they just listen to the people who kind of know best, they would have got a, you know, good shot about it. But that's all just kind of subplot C, you know, kind of going on. There's something in the valley. And I love this about Westerns. And one of the things when you watch Westerns is kind of black people are always erased from Westerns, and so are queer people. So it was nice to have a black queer person in this movie. And it was just beautiful shots of this amazing valley and these people who just love their horses so much, and the training and the handling and the kind of relationship between OJ and the horse like comes into play at loads of different moments in the movie, and it's like this real bond of trust there that I really thought was lovely, and also brought back into the kind of handler kind of stuff. I don't want to get into too much about what is in the valley because that is the show.
It's cool,
but I have never seen it expressed this way before in my life.
No, me neither. And like, it's nearly shocking that you haven't.
Yeah, because it makes so much fucking sense. It makes so much sense. And it is the scariest imagining of this thing I have ever seen. Like, there's a moment in this movie that I was just sitting back in my chair, just kind of disgusted, like just really horrified by it. And it also, like, later on is extremely beautiful, and it like nearly resembles a camera, and there's all this thing about looking and being viewed. It's a brilliantly dense and layered movie that I wish I could talk about in more detail, but I'm being very aware of Bryan and people who haven't seen this. It's okay. But like, I came out of this being just absolutely enthralled by how brilliant I thought this was.
So like, this movie was not that for me. It totally was for Michelle. Michelle was just like, that's one of the best things I've ever seen. And it didn't resonate with me, but I still enjoyed it. And like, I think I would actually it's the kind of movie I think I would probably appreciate a lot more with a second viewing, you know, that kind of way.
Probably.
Because even like, Michelle was like, oh, did you notice this and notice this and notice this? And there was a lot of stuff that just didn't hit with me, but it is still super interesting.
Yeah. I love what Jordan Peele is doing. Like, I think he's like created 3 very different movies, and I've loved them all, but I think this is my favorite one by far.
Well,
I think Michelle's the same.
Rebecca didn't really pick up like it as much either. But maybe a bit more divisive than the other two.
I think definitely. I think it's the kind of movie where, like, if you get what it's putting down, there's a lot there. But I will say, like, if you just want to judge it from a pure, like, is it scary? Is there horror? One of the most unnerving scenes I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one that's kind of in the middle of it. It's not with the thing, but it's with the other thing. I also thought there was kind of some interesting stuff there about, like, I guess, white capitalism trying to tame things that should not be tamed.
Yeah. There's a character who has a traumatic experience with an animal, and because he survived that experience, he believes that he can maybe train other animals in a similar way, and it doesn't go well. Stephen Yeun looks amazing in his cowboy suits.
Oh, he looks great.
Brilliant red suit in it. Just the aesthetic of this is so strong, and I just think it's a really fucking cool movie, man. Up there with Horse Girl is my favorite horse-centric movie.
Well,
That's pretty good.
Brian, go watch it so we can talk about it.
I will. I'll be watching it soon, I'm sure.
Oh, it's The Bear.
Oh, this is the Chef TV show, isn't it?
Yeah. With the eldest son from that show, Shameless.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
He always looks so, like,
he's a really interesting
tired
face.
and fucked up, but, like, he's so attractive at the same time.
Yeah, he's lovely hair.
Yeah, he's great. This show's great. It's getting a lot of buzz at the moment, and I think rightfully so. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's got real kind of, like, Whiplash energy. It is about working in a kitchen, and the specific story
it's real high stress, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of very high stress scenes, and you hear a lot about, like, you know, what a kind of high tension workplace a kitchen is, and so the idea is that it's this guy, it's Lip from Shameless.
I'll find out his name.
He has basically worked at the best restaurant in the entire world.
Jeremy Allen White,
and he has these like traumatized flashbacks to his time there, and particularly one chef played by Joel McHale, who is just horrible to him. Like not being aggressive and mean, but like actively trying to break him. And what's happened is that his brother has died, and he's now taking over this fairly shitty little sandwich diner, and like it's filthy. It has this staff who have all been there for like 15 years and don't want to change their ways, and it's him trying to make a real business out of this little sandwich restaurant and also not become like the fucking horrible, toxic, abusive person who taught him. And he hires like a really young sous chef, and she's like straight out of college, and she is so fucking cool. And it's like them relating to each other in different ways, and it's just, I think I really like this because like I like Whiplash as a movie. I think that's a really, really good movie. I also find it, like, you know, like a lot of people, it's a really hard watch, and like especially if you've ever had like a tough mentor figure, there's a lot in there that's kind of tough to take. This is like that, but what I like about it is it's specifically about this guy, you know, trying to get over the death of his brother, but also trying to not be that person. And there's a lot of warmth and heart in it as well. So there is this really nice contrast, but then there are these just moments of tension. Like this one episode in, I think, the second or third episode, where some meat stock spills, and it spills at just the wrong time, and it is real, like, it's such a minor thing. Like, it's not a car crash, it's not someone getting shot, but like the way it's framed and the build up to that point, you do go like and so it's really, really fun like that. So yeah, great. I think it's a really, really good TV show. I think it's a really nice TV show to just enjoy. I think maybe I find it a bit less tense than some people, but like I just love to stick this on, have dinner, and have a great time. And then I like to turn to Michelle and tell her that I want to run my own New York diner and that I'm deleting my YouTube channel, and the color drains from her face.
It might work out.
I think it could work out. Like I was gonna become a skateboarder because of the Tony Hawk's documentary, because I feel like there's still time.
Just so impressionable.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strategy talk. hate it when I have to dislike two things everyone likes in the same episode. Niamh, you've been playing games.
Yeah, I've been just playing a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Let's fucking
3.
talk Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Niamh?
I'm still really, really enjoying it.
Niamh?
What?
You did not tell me there was a girl with short hair who enjoys doing push-ups in this game.
Yeah, it's Senna. She's a tough little cookie.
Do you not think that might have been pertinent information, Niamh?
I forgot how weak and weird you were for that type of archetype.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe.
Niamh, I've played about 5 hours of Xenoblade 3. I think this game's fucking rules. I'm so impressed by so many different parts of it. Like, you said a lot of it last week, but like it goes. Like, I was so into it from the first, from like the very beginning, and I felt like with the original Xenoblade, I thought it was really cool and it was really ambitious. It was a little too like JRPG for me. You live in a peaceful village, robots attack, you get sent on a magical quest with the phantasmical
Starts small,
doodah.
scales up. This
Yeah.
one starts big.
There's a war!
Down,
You only live for 10 years!
Yeah.
There's your queen, die for her! Now you're fighting God!
Like, that's the first 3 hours of this game.
Yep.
And it's great. It's fucking cool. Gameplay is definitely taking a very long time to ramp up, but I am trusting that it's going to get to a place where there is depth and a lot to think about, because like the way they basically taught it, and I won't say too much because I think I would just want people to experience the first couple hours for themselves, but it's very slow to teach you all the separate parts of the combat system. Then there is a major event in the plot, your party expands, and all of a sudden you now have it's like the complexity of the combat system squares itself, and you all of a sudden have way more shit to think about. So like I went from the combat feeling very simple to now actually feeling a little overwhelming, but like in a way I'm down to learn, you know.
Yeah. It does that again. It like adds to itself like twice more.
I have heard that like you are 10 hours in and still getting tutorial messages. But you know what? That's cool, because not a single second of this game has felt like a tutorial.
No, that's what I like about it, is like it is tutorializing, but the tutorials are woven in narratively to the story where it all makes sense, and you're like, okay, we've gotten this like new power and now we're learning it, and it doesn't feel like you're not like, if this was just dumped on me all at the start, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what to touch, and I probably wouldn't have read it. But because it was kind of piecemealed out and in a narrative sense, I feel way more into it, I guess. I think they're doing it really, really well, but I'm very up on this. So
Me too. I am genuinely surprised what a good time I'm having with this game. A lot of it's just down to the characters and the writing. I am like, they all start off, you know, you were introduced to them and they all feel fairly tropey, fairly anime tropey, and it's not that they're not, but they do feel human, you know, they do feel, and like, I think the thing that really drives a lot of them is just the dynamics between them, you know, like they've got like, at a certain point, characters kind of pair up, but even I think the relationships are interesting, because like there's one relationship and the two just seem to be getting on really well. They have a bunch of shit in common and they're like, hey, hell yeah, me and you, this is great. And then like there's another two and they're a little more neutral, and then there's two, they just fucking hate each other. And like when I started playing, and like the girl with the
Mio? Oh, with the Uni.
Yeah. Like I met her first and I was like, okay, she's a girl, she heals, I know what this character is. And I feel like she hasn't been like that at all. I feel like Uni is always 3 seconds away from calling someone a fucking slag.
She has a moment where she like says what the fuck, and she just gets cut off before it, and I was just like, oh, we nearly got a fuck in the JRPG. Yeah. Like she's the one with the foul mouth, and I like her a lot.
Yeah, I think she's great. And like she's a gunner healer as well, which is kind of cool. Bottom of her healing staff is a rifle, which is great. I'm going back and forth between the sub and the dub.
I think that I get your reasons, and I agree.
Niamh, what were the reasons I gave you for not listening to the dub? You can say it. It's okay.
I think you said it best. Go on.
So, me and Niamh were talking about it, and this is a JRPG where all the dub have, you know, British accents. And I said to Niamh that the 1916 Rising did not happen for me to play my anime games with a British accent dub.
It's a fair reason.
I know, and I went home and I thought about it all night. But it's a good dub, and
okay, here's the thing. 2 hours later, a little anime girl said bollocks, I regret not hearing that because I just heard bollocks in Japanese, and then I actually switched back then. And you're right, it is actually a pretty decent job. Like once you get over the initial shock of like these motherfuckers, like once you get past that, it is actually quite good. Although, what's the Mia, the girl with the hammer?
Senna.
What is her accent?
Her and Mio, I think, have American accents.
Because she has an American accent, and then sometimes the end of it curls into like vaguely Scottish.
Maybe she tried, and they were like, "Stop trying."
The cat girl has like a really strong Welsh accent.
Yeah,
but it's actually really nice. Like it sounds cool.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It is a bit of Welsh. It was localized by a European company, so the accents are all really interesting. But it's definitely, like, I found too abrasive, like absolutely abrasive. I don't find this half as bad.
Did you play 1?
No.
There was a character in Run, and he'd go,
"Yeah! Rhyme time! Now it's rhyme time! Man, what a bunch of jokers! You can't have a rainbow without Ryan, baby!"
Dude, the barks happen so frequently.
they are way too frequent.
And Uni says this one that's just like, "Hear that, Noah? Lance wants a media one," and I just don't know what she means by that. I was like, is this is this a dick joke? Like, what are you saying, Uni?
Yeah.
Every time she says that, I'm like, what do you mean?
A meteor one.
Yeah.
Maybe she means like that was too easy, and Lance wants a bigger opponent.
Yeah, I get it, but the way she's just like, she's kind of ribbing Noah. She's like, "Hey, Noah," it's like how you'd rib your friend. It's like, it's a bit of a joke at Lance's expense.
Noah, you should put your dick in, Lance.
Yeah, and he should. But
do you really think that's the mechanics of how that situation would play out?
I mean, everyone's a Switch these days, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right, you tell him, Niamh.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You gotta take turns.
Only maybe cut this out, I don't know.
No, Only don't you fucking dare.
I ain't cutting shit.
And yeah, last thing I'd say, I have never felt for a single second this JRPG is wasting my time. There's a character death early on. There's a lot of characters, so that's not spoiling anything. And I appreciated the heck out of how they were like, here's this character. They made you care about him within like 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. They take him away, and it hurts. And it's like, okay, that was great. And you can see the mark that has left on the other characters. And just, it's good. It's a good. It's a good JRPG. Having a great time with it. Niamh, you have a little side project, little side hustle going on here.
Oh, yeah, if you want to hear me and our editor Oni talk more about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the first episode is up on our Patreon, and we will get to doing the second one soon enough. Oni is playing this game at a very fast rate, and I am not, but we'll get there.
You'll get there.
It's kind of a book club format. I think you'll like it.
Bryan.
Yes. I've been playing a game called Shin-chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation, The Endless 7-Day Journey.
What a good title.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to play this.
I saw Steph was playing this as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
I really want to get a physical copy of it, though.
Oh, me too now after playing it. I am about 7 hours into this game. I think it's about 10 hours long.
Oh.
It's from the developers Millennium Kitchen, who make the My Summer Vacation games.
Those games rule.
They're called Boku no Natsu... I'm going to do this. Boku no Natsu Yasumi. They only ever came out in Japan except for Attack of the Friday Monsters, which was on the 3DS as part of that weird pack. And this is the second one of these to ever come out in the West, and it's a Shin-chan licensed game. Now, have you guys ever played Shin-chan games?
Never.
No.
Okay. You know how licensed video games for the most part are kind of schlock?
Yeah.
Shin-chan video games are genuinely fucking brilliant. I own some of the Game Boy games with Shin-chan. I own original Game Boy and I own Game Boy Advance. The visuals of Shin-chan translate so well into sprites, and they're such simple block brightly colored designs, and they take the source material very seriously. Shin-chan's been like dubbed over here in the West a couple of times, but the one we grew up with, or at least one I feel, I think it was in like 2001, and it was kind of like a ruder version of the Rugrats, and I remember watching it and not realizing it was made in Japan. I thought it was like this weird European show, and then like seeing the names in the credits and realizing they were Japanese names, but I don't know, I thought it was like French or something because it came on around the same time as Augie and the Cockroaches. So I knew it was like this weird foreign cartoon, but I didn't realize it was Japanese. The woman who voiced Shin-chan was definitely doing like a ruder version of like Chucky or Tommy Pickles or whatever. But that Shin-chan was always kind of a jerk. But the Shin-chan in this game, he's just like a weird kid who's kind of charming. But like, he's a good kid. He's a good boy. He's just a little fucking weirdo.
Wow, that's really different from the Shin-chan we grew up with.
Does he show his bottom as much?
So the dash to walk around very quickly, you hold the trigger buttons, and yeah, it is his bottom. But he goes so fast.
So Brian,
he's scooting.
I feel like we maybe missed a little. What is he doing with his bottom to move faster?
Scooting. Like a dog.
Oh wow.
It's called the butt only alien, and it's like all you can see is the butt.
Okay.
And it's just a very funny silhouette. So this leans into the trope that you get in anime, and I guess it's in that Urusei Yatsura movie that you talked about last year. Shin-chan and his family go to the southern tip of Japan and go to a small sleepy village for a week in August. Time travel hijinks ensue, and the week loops itself over and over. That's why it's the endless 7-day journey. And you know the way that's in that Urusei Yatsura movie, you know, where it's just August forever?
So do we have ourselves some like Majora's Mask kind of stuff happening?
A bit, yeah. And then it's in Haruhi Suzumiya as well for like 8 episodes, the Endless 8 during season 2. It just seems to be like this kind of storytelling trope. I'm sure it's based on something. Like, I'm sure it's based on some like famous folklore. But it's Shin-chan and his family in that situation. And Shin-chan's the only one who's aware that time loops around. But he's not that bothered about it because he's only 5. And he's like, look, I'm having a great time, so whatever. It's a childhood summer game, which I talked about previously. And it's a fixed camera game because the backgrounds are illustrations.
Oh, lovely.
With 3D renders on top with masking so that, you know, it looks like he's going in and around BG elements.
Dope, that's cool.
And the backgrounds are so fucking good. And I guess it's like a simpler version of Animal Crossing meets a bit of Shenmue because he has a stamina meter.
Shenmue, the greatest game of all time.
Well, Shenmue 3.
Okay, that's when things got really good.
Because he has a stamina meter, and if it runs out, he has to go back to his house.
Okay, but does that serve a mechanical purpose?
Is that the end of a day kind of thing?
Not necessarily the end of the day, because you can eat food and you can, like, fill it up again.
Okay.
But, like, is there at least a logic? Like, does it make some... Like, is there a tension to it? Does it make something interesting?
He's 5. He needs
he's
a
5.
nap.
That's it.
Okay.
His mom gives out to him. Like,
He can't be out that long.
Rio's 5.
It's just that meter doesn't do anything. It just means you can't run. It just you're okay. You're gonna be stuck in this fucking forest for the next 40 seconds.
Like this game,
because your pocket isn't full of turnips.
This game is kind of a thing where it's like you take your time, and there's only so much you can do in a day. Like Animal Crossing, like you know the way when you get into the flow of Animal Crossing, you can kind of do everything you need to do in about 40 minutes, and then you just close the game and play it the next day because the game has ran out of stuff and it won't refresh until the next day. But like this doesn't use an internal clock, so each day is approximately half an hour, and you'll kind of go through the cycle. So you'll play for about 50 minutes, and then all of a sudden the BG will shift to a different lighting, and you're like, okay, it's afternoon, then it's evening, and the sound design reflects that with like crickets chirping.
And so like, what's the goal?
Just have a good time. You go fishing, you catch bugs.
So there's no like objective really, or
there's an overarching story in which there's a weird professor, and he introduces himself and he claims he's a bad guy, and he starts time traveling dinosaurs into the village, and the dinosaurs start going around the village and wrecking havoc. And Shin-chan and some of the other characters.
Sorry, Brian, did you say wrecking havoc? Niamh, did you hear that?
I did.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Brian, it's wreaking havoc. Wrecking havoc would
Wreaking?
mean... Wrecking havoc
Sorry,
would mean
wreaking
that
havoc.
Dinosaurs are wrecking havoc, the concept of havoc itself.
But what's wreaking havoc?
Wreaking havoc means that they are spreading havoc. They are putting havoc out into the world.
I would say causing havoc, to be honest.
Well, that's not as fun, Brian.
You're just checking up the grammar.
Yeah, just make, like, I would say wreak as well. Yeah, what does wreaking havoc mean? To wreak havoc is to cause chaos or destruction.
Wrecking havoc would mean that they're making things tidier, Brian.
Like recreation.
Because they're wrecking the havoc by making it orderly.
Shit. Man, words are really hard.
Bryan, I'm going to need you to get your shit together.
I can't today, unfortunately. I'm on these new meds and they're not.
You're fine. You're okay. This sounds kind of awesome.
It's really, really good. I appreciate that it's not an endless game. It's not an infinity game like Animal Crossing or Minecraft or one of those things.
So there is like an end goal.
Yes. It'll loop around. It's kind of like The World Ends With You, where you're trapped in a time loop, but you're not really, you know.
Yeah. So like the story is advancing even though your place and time is kind of resetting.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And yeah, you just do some interesting stuff. All the supporting characters are really fun because it's a very small town. There's only about like 4 or 5 different shops. There's about less than 10 buildings. You kind of uncover the map in a really kind of piecemeal way. And Shin-chan kind of like Shin-chan's 5 and there's other kids, but they're just the kids from the TV show or the manga, but they have like tan skin because they're from the south of Japan. And he's like, you all remind me of my friends, and they're like, no, we're different. But it's just like
it's pretty funny
because like this game has a budget and it's fairly small.
Is the writing in the game strong?
Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
Okay.
Like
you're selling the heck out of this, Bryan.
There's one bit where you go to like the first time you meet the girl who runs the grocery store, and she's like, I'm just 18, don't mess with me. And Shin-chan's like, okay. And then like you go to the newspaper office, and they just have a local newspaper, and it's run by a guy called Cap'n or the Cap. But he has like an assistant, and she's in love with him, but then Shin-chan's in love with her. And one of the things he's like, I'm going to go on a date with her. And she's like, no, I'm 20. And he's like, yeah. She's like, you're not going on a date with me. But then everyone has a crush on her. But Shin-chan's like, yeah, but she's my girlfriend. He's such a fucking little weirdo. And like the dinosaurs are really good. And then there's like this weird battle game where it's like rock, paper, scissors. And you can also use a robot, but it's called a Gum-Dum instead of a Gundam. And there's a Brachiosaurus, Pterodactyl, Stegosaurus, and a T-Rex, I think. They're the 4 dinosaurs. And they all have like a sore part of their body that you need to like heal. And every morning they do the dancing song. And like it's weird because like it's a children's game, but like I think if I played this as a child, I don't think I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
But the thing is, I think it's for adults, but there's nothing like particularly raunchy or like rude. But it's definitely a nostalgia game.
I kind of think like that's what like Attack on the Friday Monsters and stuff. I wouldn't give that game to a kid, not because like there's nothing unsuitable in it, but just because like I don't think they'd enjoy it.
It wouldn't hold their attention.
Yeah. I think as a kid you got nothing but time, and I think some of the kind of nice part about some of these games is like the illusion that you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
But that sounds brilliant, Bryan. I think I'm going to give that a go.
It's so good.
Guys, I played Cult of the Lamb.
The big game.
This is the new indie darling.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing I feel like with Cult of the Lamb. This is like a game where you are a little lamb and you are about to be sacrificed by this giant cult, only for... I think you actually are sacrificed, and then you are spared. Your life is restored by this old god under the condition that you start a cult for him. And I named my cult the Nameless because I thought, there's all those weird, really just weird and unfounded rumors that like the Nameless are like a cult, when we're just really a network of like-minded individuals sharing business and networking tips. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's like a kind of Magneto. What's the organization of evil mutants? What are they called, Niamh? Magneto, he runs the Evil Mutants Society or something.
Yeah, that's what it's called. He calls it the Evil Mutant Society.
Yeah,
he does. He does. And
he says we're the bad ones.
But yeah, he does that ironically because that's what people call him, and it doesn't matter. And so then you the way the game works is that you spend pretty much half your time building up your cult, like kind of sort of harvest mooning, Animal Crossing this like crop of land, and like digging up the trees and mining the stones and picking the weeds, planting, farming, all this kind of stuff. And as you do, kind of like you have followers, and you get these followers in like the kind of dungeon sections of the game, or like I'm sure there's other ways as well, and like you can kind of buy them and all this sort of stuff. And it's like you're making numbers go up for the purpose of making numbers go up. you are getting enough followers so that they can pray at your altar. Then you use their faith to unlock new building upgrades. Then you have those followers help you mine stone and chop wood that you can then use to build those new buildings, which in turn give your followers a better quality of life, improve them, get more followers.
It's like a factory simulator.
Yeah, kind of like definitely more in depth than other kind of roguelikes with building aspects, but yeah, it kind of a little bit like that, you know. There's a certain level of automation because you can just tell your followers, go mine wood, go do this, go do that. And it's all pretty competent. And then the second part of the game is you are going into dungeons and going after the old faith. The people, the 4 bishops who tried to sacrifice you but are also keeping your, like, god chained. And these sections operate very like a kind of Binding of Isaac, or probably more accurately like a Hades. You start off and you get a selection of which you get like to choose between 2 weapons, and then you find upgrade cards, you find this and that. And it's fine, it's competent. You know, like I think it would be very harsh to call any aspect of it bad. I think if there's one element of it that stands out, it's kind of the visuals. It's very like very Newgrounds inspired, very 2D vector animations. Like
to me, it kind of looked like Don't Starve a bit.
I think it's probably a bit prettier than Don't Starve.
Yeah, Don't Starve isn't. I don't like the aesthetic of Don't Starve.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of After Effects puppet pin animation kind of stuff.
The kind of animation,
floppy, aren't they?
the kind of animation that used to be done in Flash and is now done like that.
Yeah.
And like a lot of cute animals with like little stubby features and big expressive eyes, and it's cool. And like some of the animation's really great, and then some of the character designs are really fantastic. There's this fish, and he has like, you know, you just picture a fish, but he's standing vertically, so his mouth is on the top of his head. But he wears like glasses and mustache at his eyes to make it look like he has a face and stuff. Like, that's cool. You find this like bear thing who's obsessed with finding his heart, and he has all these little heart worshippers and a giant beating heart in the background. Like, there's some really striking imagery, and like the monsters are really weird and cool looking, and that's my favorite part of it. I think like where the game kind of falls short for me is that I don't think mechanically, either in the combat or the base building stuff, there's anything here to really differentiate itself enough from a lot of other games like this. Like, on paper, this game is very similar to Hades in that like you are gathering resources to go back to your base and put into other resources. But like with Hades, you know, you weren't, even though it is a base building game, like when you think about it, you are literally building different rooms, but you are also like putting resources into particular characters and then getting rewarded with really excellent dialogue. With this, it really does just feel like you have raised the number to make the thing go up. And it really reminds me of a game I played last year called Moonlighter, and which was very similar. Dive down into dungeons, go back up, put money into the shops, then sell the wares you find. And I actually think Moonlighter is a lot more compelling than this. I think it's a much tighter game. The cult stuff in this, it's like fun and it's cute, but a lot of the times the dialogue just wasn't entertaining enough to make me not just want to X past it, you know? And there's a looseness to the combat. It really doesn't feel that interesting. And like finding a sword or finding a knife, the knife is faster than the sword's more powerful, the like axe is stronger than the sword but much slower, there's gauntlets as well, and none of them feel that different. I feel like what this game does really well, if you let it, is it's a really good dopamine cycle. You know, dive into the dungeon, get as far as you can, come back out, pour those resources into your cult, run your daily ritual, do your daily sermon, get your faith back up, build new buildings, get stronger, back into the dungeon. It has a really smooth cycle, you know, and it's the kind of game that is really, really nice to just stick on a podcast and zone out to, because it's not going to ask a lot of you. My problem with it, and like I think the biggest sin this game commits is just existing in a world where there are much better versions of this. Some people won't care about that at all. Some people will just enjoy this on its own merits. For me personally, I constantly came away from it thinking like, I probably could have spent my time on something I would have enjoyed more. And I guess maybe one of the reasons I feel like that is I'm just after coming off a very big kick of 20 Minutes Till Dawn. I recommended this last week, but I wanted to talk about it a little more because I think this game is absolutely fantastic. It's incredible to me how well designed I feel this game is. So before I hadn't beaten it, and I was really like trying to find the combinations of characters, weapons, and upgrades that would lead to like a strong enough build for me to actually beat it. And I really felt like, man, like I tried like 10 to 20 times and I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was like, there has to be some build that just lets me break this, you know? And like there has to be one specific combination. And like I was having kind of troubles because there was weapons like the shotgun, and the shotgun is really powerful close up. Just to mention, if you haven't heard last week, it's like a top-down Vampire Survivors kind of game, but a bit different. And the shotgun, it's like you can fire twice and then you have to reload. So even though it is really powerful, it's really short range and you have to reload so much. Like it's
really
never
exposed, yeah.
It's never going to be strong enough. But then they released a patch where they added a new upgrade, which is like Smite, which means whenever you reload, swords shoot down from heaven and kill your enemies. So now I was using the shotguns with Smite, reloading every 2 seconds and just wiping the screen, and it felt so good. And I was actively avoiding the upgrades to give me more ammo capacity because the reload was so powerful. And then, you know, I found things to make the Smite more powerful. I found this thing where like every 500 kills with Smite, I get health back and all this kind of stuff. And like it really just turned into this really organic experimentation of like building this thing. And that alone, I think, would have been enough to make it like one of my favorite games of the year. But that happened like 4 or 5 times. I found 4 or 5 different builds that all worked in their own really fucking stupid way. I found one build that operated on just like not killing enemies, but just keeping them away from me until the timer ran out. And that felt so cheap and fun, but I was so happy I figured it out. And like, whereas something like Cult of the Lamb, I think it's really great for like triggering your dopamine. Something like 20 Minutes Till Dawn, that was like something more that actually felt like creative. And what was like all those builds I mentioned, I would stop playing the game, I would do other things, I would think about that game and be like, wait a minute, would a build like this work? And then I would like go back, and most of the time it would actually work. Like, and I think that's really special. Like, this game crawled inside me and wouldn't let me go, and it was just like, this is definitely going to be one of my favorite games of the year. It is €2 on Steam. It will run on a fucking toaster. I really recommend this to everyone.
Okay, this is very high on my list because I love making builds and I love games that kind of just give you the tools to try them out and not lock you in and let you like change them and mess around with them. It is
real like, okay, I died there and that's because it was taking me too long to reload and I should have tried to do that. But like, it's so much fun. And like, I stopped playing it because it had its hooks in me so bad that I just wanted to have more to talk about for this podcast, you know? But I could so happily go back and download it. It is in early access, and like, but the changes they've made already, like when they added Smite, that was such a game changer for me, and it's great. Really love that game. Recommend people go play it. It's fantastic. Cult of the Lamb is fine, I guess. Quicktime Events. Do we have news?
Gamescom happened.
I got one.
What?
The you know the way Multiverses have added all the characters and they're like nostalgia farming and all that kind of stuff, and it's really easy to be like, no, fuck that, whatever. They added Stripe from Gremlins, and I lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, I think it was part of some leak or some promo. Yeah.
So there was a leak that suggests Beetlejuice and the Wicked Witch of the West are going to be in it, but fucking Stripe is in it, and like, I am going to play Multiverses to play as Stripe.
I was like, oh no, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Damn, right? Like, what are you going to do? Not play as her?
Damn.
Yeah. That's all I got.
It's a very interesting roster. I've got the Gamescom 2022 announcements.
What we got?
There's a game called Everywhere. Did we talk about this before?
Is that not a David O'Reilly thing?
That's everything.
Oh, okay.
Everything. There's a game called Everywhere.
That all? That what we got?
That's it. Oh, there's a Doom MMO, which seems like a
What?
good
Dune. This is the Frank Herbert book.
a good
Oh,
property for
Dune,
an MMO.
not Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dune
sorry.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it does. They showed Hogwarts Legacy. Who cares? New Tales from the Borderlands. So is that the not okay? It's made by Gearbox, but wasn't that?
So
the other
that
guy?
was a Telltale's joint, and it's
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, like really well regarded by people. The Tales from the Borderlands, people love that fucking thing. I never played it, I never went near it, but yeah, people really, really like it.
There's a game called Word Song, which is former Bethesda game studio designer Jeff Gardner and Obsidian Entertainment alumnus Charlie Staples formed Something Wicked Games and announced a game called Word Song.
Also, kind of news, but that new Saints Row game is getting fucking trashed.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't
a bummer.
seen scores that low for a really long time. Like across the board.
Have you played any of the Saints Row games?
I played the third one.
Saints Row the Third is my
Yeah.
favorite. I love Saints Row the Third. Like, I prefer Saints Row the Third to Skyrim. They came out like the same week back in 2011.
Yeah, I can see that.
Saints Row the Third is so fucking funny.
I think I played like the first 6 or 7 hours of that game, and yeah, it was cool and it was creative. It was a weird fucking game. I got to the bit with where you're a toilet,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I think that's the peak of this game.
They're bringing back Dead Island 2.
I'm sure someone's pumped for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Callisto Protocol. So this was shown a couple of weeks ago, and it was supposed to come out this year. So its release date is December 2nd.
Yeah.
This is the kind
Oh,
of
cool.
This is the first-person game that's kind of inspired by Dead Space.
Yeah, this is the Dead Space when Keeley was doing his summer game fest, and you had like Dead Space, Callisto Protocol, like all the sci-fi nightmare games, and it was just like, okay, I guess we're doing sci-fi horror now. I'm excited to play the Callisto Protocol, but I'm also like, I feel like I'm going to be burnt out by the time that the remake of Dead Space gets here.
Yeah.
Fuck remakes. Oh my god, Killer
Spicy.
Klowns from Outer Space is getting a game?
Okay.
Yeah, it's an asymmetrical horror game like Friday the 13th. That is wild. That's a fun movie.
There's a Genshin Impact update for all you Genshin Impact fans. They showed off more of Honkai Star Rail, which was one of those anime games from a couple weeks back. A game called Friends vs. Friends, which has a really cool art style. Gotham Knights, which, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested in playing that personally.
What's the deal with that game? I hear a lot of controversy around it and I don't know why.
I don't know if there was controversy. It was delayed. I don't like the designs.
Yeah.
I think the one thing anyone has to do when they make Nightwing and put Nightwing in a game is make Nightwing look hot, and their Nightwing looks absolutely not hot, doesn't have a butt, just doesn't look great at all. And to me, that's just a crime.
Ridiculous.
Because the whole point of the Bat family is they're very sexy people.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
There's a game called Where Winds Meet.
That's when two people fart.
Yeah.
I wonder
like
how
that,
many
Brian.
times that developer is going to hear that.
Yeah.
Probably none, unfortunately.
A game called Park Beyond, which seems to be like a theme park spiritual successor. Okay, so this is a game I'm really curious about. Lies of P. Do you know about this one?
No, I haven't heard of this
I
at all.
do. I like the main character design. It's kind of, it looks like Bloodborne-esque.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like this.
Is this the Pinocchio game?
Yeah.
This is the Pinocchio game where they're like, we did not take influence from Bloodborne.
Oh no, they're very open about it.
No, they have literally said, they say, we think Bloodborne's a great game. We have not taken any influence from Bloodborne.
I'm really curious about this one. It's coming out next year, and it'll have a day one release on Game Pass.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. Because I know there's another Souls-like that just came out, and I thought that was that
Is
game.
there?
Yeah, Themnesia or something like that, or
That's completely
Kinesia.
forgotten by me.
And it looks fine. It looks more like Sekiro inspired because you can move really, really fast and jump and all that. But then, yeah, Lies of P really is just like Bloodborne with Pinocchio.
Yeah. It was such a weird move for them to be like, yeah, we like Bloodborne, not really what we were going for with this game.
I'm curious about it.
It looks good. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't deter me at all. Like, if it's a good game, it's a good game.
Yeah. It's a game called Phantom Hellcache from a new studio called Ironbird Creations. And it It's a 3D hack and slash game with a teen protagonist hunting down evil. Goat Simulator 3, everyone.
Yeah.
You like the Goat Simulator games?
Sure.
The Return to Monkey Island game is out September 19th. That is a really nice art style. I probably won't play that, but you know.
People went nuts over that art style.
It's a nice art style.
As in, like, people got mad.
Yeah,
Really?
they hated it.
Yeah.
They were sending, like, just abusing the developers over it.
Well, I think it looks cool.
I know.
Yeah, the Killer Klowns game and a game called High on Life. Oh, it's from the Rick and Morty creator. Cool. Moving out to
I like Rick and Morty.
I
The
haven't watched it
Lords
in
of
ages.
Fallen is such a weird one because that was a 360 game. I remember playing it. There's like a
Wasn't
a
that
weird
like-
Viking dude on the cover, and it's like, are they doing a remake of it? Is
Was
this
that a
remaster?
kind of Dark Soulsy game?
Yeah, a little bit.
It
Yeah,
was from the guys who made The Surge, right?
maybe. I think so. It's interesting that this is called The Lords of Fallen. I think.
Huh.
I don't know if that's a remake or remaster, or they're like, okay, second time's the charm. No one liked it the first time. Let's do it again.
It's a reboot of the 2014 game. That's an odd one.
Yeah.
That's an odd one.
I don't feel like that had the audience to warrant that, but hey.
Yeah.
And also, 8 years ago is that long ago. For a
No, I know, but that's all they're doing now. We're going through this huge purge of new content where, like,
Well, personally, when I see a game that I've like, if it's not from a series I know, and it doesn't have any character, like it's not a spin-off of a series I know, I get kind of scared and angry.
Like
if there's no option for the Wicked Witch of the West to show up in it, then like, what's the fucking
I don't
point?
get it.
I don't get
I
it.
don't get it.
I'm sure we're all getting The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Because I just think we need to play it a third time. I just think we would feel a lot better about ourselves if we just did it once more.
Yeah.
And then once more again in a couple of years.
I think there's like something to be said about like old games that are hard to play getting a new lease of life, but then you have something that's like on the 360. It's like you can probably like play Lords of Fallen on Game Pass or
it's probably
just like
there.
buy it on
Like I'm
it's
big into
the
like
access is
faithful
there.
remasters.
Yeah.
Like, I think remasters are super important. I think remakes are just like at this like there was an excitement around remakes for a long time, you know, but at this point I just feel like I never want to play a remake. Like I either want to play the original or I want to play something new.
I feel a little bit like that, but I gotta say, like Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of my favorite games ever made, so I can't be too mad at the concept, but that is a totally different game.
Well, like Resident Evil 2 Remake, it is very like I mean that tries a lot of new shit and it messes with it in interesting ways, and like for as much as I actually you know I don't like the game, but like for as much as I don't like that game, I respect what it went for, you know. But I would also just say there's a lot in that game I would have just preferred to see from a new Resident Evil, but I get that 2 is very beloved. It's in a very limited old format, but yeah.
We'll see what they
And
do
that
with
said,
4.
Resident Evil Remake, one of my favorite video games
Yeah.
of all time.
Capcom, they do them well, I guess.
Yeah.
But the other bit of news was like, I'm sure there's other releases, but we're literally just naming titles.
There is one here and it says Under the Waves, and it's an underwater exploration game developed by Parallel Studios and Quantic Dream.
What is that?
Yeah.
I'll play that.
Is
if
that
it's
Star
terrible.
Wars game still happening?
That's the thing. Is like the Quantic Dream Star Wars game is definitely still happening. But the
Jesus.
other Star Wars news is the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is a game that I think actually could use a remake, because going back to it, it's you know, it got a bit of a light remaster for the Switch.
It's been like 1 year since they've got announced.
It's a rough one, but it seems to be going through a lot of development hell, and the company that the studio that were making it are being taken off it, and they're giving it to a new studio.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard it was being given to a new studio. I had heard that it would, like they weren't happy.
They weren't happy, and I think they had gotten 2 more studios to help out with the development, and now they're moving it.
And from what I understood, they weren't happy in that they thought what the studio produced was really good, but it was way over budget, which like sucks to hear.
I can imagine that game's a huge game, so if you're trying to make that a modern day thing, like that's a massive undertaking.
They should split it into multiple games, and then there should be these ghosts that kind of that guide destiny. Brian, Niamh, Brian, you with me here?
Yeah, you got to correct the path.
Yeah.
Oh, Knights of the Republic integrate?
Yeah,
That's a word.
we get Yuffie in there.
Oh my god, this is really funny news.
Please.
Hideo Kojima has announced he has a podcast.
He's our direct competition now. We have to kill him
Well,
for more reasons.
Well, Kojima, the fucking gloves are off now. You may have made Niamh's 2020 Game of the Year, but
2019.
2019. I knew it. I love the arc of Niamh and Death Stranding in this book.
I both love and hate that game.
It's interesting.
There's a new DualSense called the DualSense Edge for the PS5, and it has
I
more.
love edging.
It it has more buttons and adjustable doohickeys.
I'm not sure I know what edging is, but people say it a lot.
My sweet summer child.
Just putting that out there.
Then at the very end here it is Pokemon Car. Which is Mini and the Pokemon Company have collaborated to make a car. Is it shaped like a Pikachu?
Yeah, it has to be yellow, right? A little
It's gotta
yellow
be.
Pikachu mini.
Is it on that? Bryan?
Okay, so it has the Union Jack, but it's like an LED panel.
Oh, gross.
And it says hashtag Big Love.
Okay.
Play on.
Is there any Pokemon elements on it?
They
It's Pikachu on the steering wheel.
yeah. It just looks like an electric car mini with Pokemon flair on it.
They should have just made that fucking horrifying biological motorbike from the new game. God, that thing's it's a fucking nightmare.
Are these the legendaries?
Yeah, they transform into they don't like turn into machines that you can ride. They're just fucking chests fold out and rotate.
So it's a flash bike.
It's horrifying, and you get on them and yeah.
It's very Cronenbergian.
Yeah, it is. Hell yeah.
Let's do emails.
We have an email.
We have an email.
Yeah, it's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
That's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Gonna be real friendly this time.
Bryan, fuck that. Let's get real for a second. What has the current standard of email been? Now, we get a lot of emails, so we're not necessarily asking for more emails. But do we need to ask for better emails?
Honestly, the standard has been really, really good.
You lucky little shits, you avoided this time, but the next time Brian's unhappy, you better fucking watch out.
They're very good, but keep it up. I like the stamina you all have right now. Don't fucking drop it.
Mm-hmm.
We get the occasional troll email, and usually they're fucking cringe. We got a good one.
Do we want to say what that is? Do we want to encourage this kind of behavior?
No.
Look, you know who you are. Brian messaged us very excited. We all couldn't believe it. You fucking got us. Fair play. I respect it.
Very funny.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Go ahead and sign us up to some shit. I just unsubscribed from that shit as well. It's fine.
People do that. Like, my iPatch Wolf email doesn't make any sense at all.
You're just getting loads of diet websites and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
who has the time to do that though?
They're kind of
funny.
boring as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's not like a subscription to Dick Enlargers Monthly. It's like word of the day. And it's like, why?
Several people have emailed in telling John his lost media about that Goblin movie.
Yep, thank you everyone. It's actually found. It was The Princess and the Goblin, not The Goblin Prince, which is a different movie. Haven't watched it yet. It's all available on YouTube for free. Very excited. Thank you.
An update on my lost media, or was it? When I was talking about Eurotrash, I looked into it, and that is a series that was created by Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it ran for around 100 episodes. Yeah, I know. It was really expensive to make, but had a real lo-fi feel to it, and you cannot watch it anywhere. The best you can do is get a DVD of clips from it, from across 100.
Apparently it's coming to 4OD.
Really?
Apparently it's coming to Channel 4.
So
on demand.
I did actually do a research around torrent sites. I could not find it.
No,
Yeah.
I actually just want to make
Because
sure.
I found other people talking about it, and people were like, if anyone has this on VHS, I will digitize this, because it is just impossible to get. I spent €60 buying the Clip Show, a DVD from eBay, because it was the best price I could find it for. People are trying to sell it for 150.
Oh my god.
It is. So if this comes to 4D, that will be brilliant.
Eurotrash is back with a smutty DVD release, and it's like a big box set. All 10 seasons.
Fuck, when's this coming up, Brian? Just bought a clip show.
Later this year.
When's this article from?
This is from 5 days ago.
Brilliant.
Wow.
I did it. I did this.
You did it.
I magicked
without
Eurotrash.
Without question.
Yeah, but yeah, I heard it's
Fuck yeah, I'm
also
getting that.
a digital archive on 4OD.
Good, because I was really sad about it, and like, you know, like there's this content blitz that's going on because of the HBO Warner merger, and it's just really sad and depressing and scary that all these pieces of, like, specifically animation, like people's work and people's art in these stories are just gone. There's no DVD releases, there's no Blu-ray releases, there's no way to fucking watch these things anymore until someone else buys up the rights and airs them eventually, maybe 10 years down the line. This has been a fear I've had with digital media for ages, because when you go onto, say, the Netflix LGBT section, there is nothing of note there. Like, there's a few things, but like, if you were to go through a list of like the best LGBT movies, most of the shit that you will find on that list is not streaming.
Do they have a Portrait of a Woman on Fire?
I don't think they do. But it's like, so I started buying as many DVDs as I could of like queer movies, because I feel at some stage the stuff that they're going to start getting rid of is LGBT movies and stuff that is like controversial, like how eBay won't sell anything that is sexual or of a sexual nature anymore. And what that constitutes as always has a big question mark over it, because that's something that you can use to ban LGBT content.
So I watched a really interesting video this a little while ago, and it was through the lens of like old Japanese visual novel games. But historically, any movement that becomes anti-sex is always like a stone's throw away from just being anti-LGBT or whatever.
Absolutely. They equate the two. So that's like what happened with eBay. They said it was like okay, we're moving sexual stuff. Instantly, I had so many like gay and lesbian zines from all around the world like on my watch list that I was just like, someday I'll buy those and scan them and archive them or whatever. All just wiped off the platform. Like, it's super hard to find these things, and that's like, that is history, and it is sad.
Absolutely. Thank you for the email. From who was that, Brian?
That was from us. Just
That was an update on our last episode and me ranting about preserving media.
It was, and that it's an ongoing conversation.
And I'll never stop ranting about it.
Artaku Raven Hero asks, favorite dragon? ? Mine's Ghidorah. That's King Ghidorah, I assume, from Godzilla.
So, big fan of Matchstick from Cuphead, and also Seat the Scaleless from Dark Souls 1.
Oh yeah, that's a cool design.
Yeah, he's fucking great. Awful boss fight. Atrocious boss fight. Amazing design and story.
I really like the Sean Connery dragon from Dragonheart.
Oh yeah.
Like, he doesn't hold up, but I really, really like his personality. He's just like a lazy dragon that just kind of like aged out with all the other dragons. I really, really actually like Smaug in that second Hobbit movie.
I mean, Smaug's cool.
Yeah, I do love the idea that dragons just hoard gold and they live in a cave. I think that's just
yeah, they're billionaires.
It's a fun idea. Yeah, they are billionaires.
J.R.R. Tolkien tried to warn us.
Theo James, he's pretty. No, wait.
I'm after conflating two separate names there.
I'm actually looking up Dragon's Den. Fucking Dragon's Den is so. I'm sure it's still going. Peter Jones is one.
He's a good one, but I've always been more of a Theo Prophetus man, or even a Deborah. Deborah's probably my favorite dragon.
Deborah Meaden is
fucking absolute. Like, after season 4, she very clearly hired a personal stylist because she looks incredible every suit after that.
I can't think of one, but I really liked the Dragon Keeper books from Robin Wilde. There was really good dragons in that, and everyone had really good relationships and interesting relationship with the dragons. And I
think I read all them. The covers were all... Okay, I was going to say the covers are always like a different dragon, but I'm guessing that's every fantasy book that has dragons.
I know what you're talking about, but yes.
No, those were great books. I used to love them.
Robin Hood books always bring that, and I loved how she described dragons, because there was always this kind of like, dragons are just assholes in it. They expect humans to be in complete servitude to them at all times, because they're like, we're bigger than you and we can eat you. So
Fair enough.
there's always this like tension with respect, and knowing a dragon's name is having power over them.
I still think that original Robin Hood trilogy is like the best fantasy trilogy I ever read. So good.
Okay. One last dragon, Rayquaza, the Pokemon. I just think he's a cool dragon. And I like his shiny form where he's black and yellow. Just looks fucking badass.
More a Gyarados fan myself.
Alright.
You know?
You're wrong, but you know, Rayquaza.
Bryan.
I always liked in Spirited Away, dude's dragon form.
Haku?
Yeah, you're Aku. I've seen like a disproportionate amount of Aku dragon form tattoos.
Wow.
It's a cool image.
It's a really cool image.
And when he flies into the house injured, I think that
Oh,
animation
that's
on it
so
is so
cool.
gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
It's
The
just
bit where like and then like
and the
all
little
the
bits of-
separate parts of his body are moving differently because he's all fucked up.
And little bits of paper all just like...
God, that movie's so good.
It's fantastic. I really like the Luck Dragon as well, a Never-Ending Story, and I really like the texture, that he's kind of fluffy, but then underneath he has the scales. It's just a really, really good puppet.
Oh, Maleficent's dragon form as well, I always thought was cool.
Oh, yeah.
In the live action or the animated?
The animated one.
Yeah, it's got really nice angular design.
Yeah.
I always found that entire sequence like so intense as a child, and like she turns into a bunch of thorns, and the knight has to. I had to look away from that as a kid. I couldn't take it.
Sleeping Beauty's a really strange one.
Yeah.
The first live action one isn't bad because Angelina Jolie is losing her mind in it. It's great.
I mean, that's going to be fun, right?
Yeah, she was just like, oh, I'm really building on this character.
Okay, this actually leads into another email question. This one is from Azarian. Being a huge animation buff and friends with several members of Studio Yata. Studio Yata? I'm sure I've heard of them. I'm sure if I saw Studio Yata stuff, I'd be like, oh yeah. Anyway, their question is, character, animation, acting is one of my favorite things of all time in the medium. I was curious, what are some of your 3 personal favorite bits from animation, anime, video games?
Oof.
Of character acting.
Yeah.
Or it could just be like a little bit.
So first thing that comes to mind for me is there's by now like a really famous sequence from Hunter x Hunter where Gon is put in a really difficult position and he just fucking snaps and he starts crying and he starts like breaking the ground beneath him with his fists, and it's this moment where like Gon's simple happy nature has been like eroding for some time now, but it's basically the point where he encounters these creatures who like he can't relate to. They work on an entirely different morality system to him, and so there's no real befriending them. Like, he speaks the same language of them, but they're too different from him, and he just loses his fucking mind and he gets so upset. And it's such a beautiful sequence, but I think what I really love about it is that if you look at the drawings in the manga, you know, Togashi is at the late stage of his career with these drawings. They're not great, they're okay, and just the scene is so elevated by the acting in that sequence. And like, there's this kind of movement I feel happening at the moment as well, where a lot of people are starting to say that the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter is the superior series. And what I will say is like the 1999 version has really interesting art direction and isolated bits, but the 2011 version, like when it's firing on all cylinders, no fucking adaptation touches it. And moments like this are so fantastic, because usually with a big anime like this, all the money goes into the action scenes. This is just one where so much attention and love got put into this piece of acting, and it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Pretty good. I like that one bit in One Piece where Luffy punches the celestial dragon character.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
It's just this like high society royal slave owner, and Luffy punches him, and he punches him in the manga, and it's a really good double page spread panel. But in the anime, when he does it, all the color disappears and it goes into black and white, and it's this really, really loose black line art. And the punch goes on for about 2 minutes as it slowly caves into his face, and there's like a nuclear blast going all around it, and then he just like sends him flying across the slave trading auction house, and it's fucking brilliant. I love the animation in Dumbo. There's a really good bit where Timothy J. Mouse, who is not named in the film except at the very end where it's on a newspaper article, but his name is Timothy J. Mouse. And he's kind of like Dumbo's hype man manager. But there's a bit where he is convincing the ringmaster of the circus in his sleep to put Dumbo as their like main act, and he's like hiding underneath the bed sheet, and it's really funny animation of a mouse who's kind of like blending in with the BG element and then popping up and down, and there's no lip syncing or any like facial acting, and it's just done through the silhouette. But he keeps changing his silhouette as well because he's underneath a blanket, and it's just so fucking charming.
That's really cool.
To me, there's a scene in Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, and it's when Meyerlink is being burnt by the sun, and it's just I own one of the cells from it because I just love the scene so much. But it's such a like sad romanticness to it because it's like him kind of giving himself for, you know, his lady love.
The film fucking rules.
But it's just like there's something so visceral about it. But that whole movie is just so visceral. Like it's the word I would use to describe it.
I still think like however many, like 20 years later, I don't know, the opening sequence of that movie is still just one of the most stunning pieces of film I have ever seen. Animated, live action, 2D, 3D, anything.
Just one of my personal favorites forever. But other than that, one that I always come back to is in Real Akuma and Kaoru, the little bird cleaning up the house all the time. I love that piece of animation. Very cute. Very
Territory's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's just just such limited expression, just getting across the idea of frustration with cleaning. Really like that. And then just my favorite scene in all animation is the Asuka fight in End of Evangelion when she's fighting the mass-produced Evas. I think
and
that's
the animation's
just so good.
on trees, so it has this really fun chunky timing to it.
The sequence of her at the bottom of the ocean moving the joysticks back and forth always feels really like upsetting to me.
I love Asuka's animation as well because it's just like she's that like the character that just embodies complete confidence but also just complete vulnerability at all times, and she just bounces between that and you can always see it very clearly. But yeah, I don't know, it's like it's hard to think of little instances and moments. My girlfriend always makes me watch K-On! With her because she likes how cute the animation is.
They're really good at eating cakes.
Yeah, or just like there's this scene where Mio like rolls an orange over the back of a couch with her fingers, and there's just like this lovely flow to the animation. I think it's just like the round orange meeting the soft thing and just her fingers going over it, and it's like my girlfriend thinks it's cute. I always think it's kind of gross because it's so nice looking. It's so
they
like
are
soft
little blobs.
Yeah, it's like it's so blobby.
And now I find it endearing. I do like it, but I get where you're coming from.
They've little squirrel hands.
Yeah, so I find it both like really cute, but I also don't like it to look at it too much because it's just a bit too soft.
I've kind of talked about it. I'm sure I talked about it before, but there's one episode of Yu Yu Hakusho which is after the death of a major character, and all the character designs change for that episode.
Yeah.
Everything looks really soft and like it doesn't really have a proper form, and it's because all the characters are just trapped in this like mode of grieving where they can't believe what's just happened. But they're not like crying and screaming. They're just all in a haze, you know. And I think that is what grief kind of feels like, especially when it's sudden, and that always jumps out to me. It's just a really creative, lovely piece of animation.
And obviously Aku dragon form injured in room.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
Because you know how most CGI kind of ages badly, or kind of like sometimes the animation looks a bit clunky, or sometimes the rendering doesn't look right, but I think Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, especially the second one, that still holds up and it still looks so convincing.
VFX from that time still looks amazing. Like Constantine looks great still. And then like you compare that to some of like modern day Marvel, and it's just like people can do amazing things if they're given the time, you know, and the good working environment to do it, and it will hold up for a really long time.
There's a real craft to some of those films.
I remember watching some of that recent Spider-Man movie and just thinking it looked like shit. Like just thinking that there is stuff from like 10 years ago like that holds up so much better, because what it was someone just sitting down for a long time and trying. And this was obviously some poor fucking CG animator who had like a couple of days to pull together this insane monster shot, and like it doesn't look great because
and getting notes like, can we try this? Can we do this different? And
Make the chair red.
You love that one, don't you, Bryan?
It's just a suggestion.
Do you want to tell the story?
John had to do an educational video like 10 years ago, and he showed the final export to the boardroom, and one of them said, "Could we make that chair in the background red?" And John was like, "No, why? It's too late. It's been signed off on. Why?" And she was like, "It's just a suggestion." But sometimes that's all it is. They're just like you don't need to give feedback sometimes.
Yeah, I think middle management and upper management need to know that sometimes. But like most,
just sign off on stuff in advance.
You need to either set a rule where you get one round of notes and they have to happen at this time, or you just say okay, and then you show them the exact same thing a week later, and they'll forget what they asked you for anyway.
Did I ever tell you the second part of that story, Bryan?
No.
So a month or two later, I got invited to a screening of that movie. I think it might have been Cineworld in Dundrum, and I went, and that same woman gave a speech before the movie, and like the cinema was packed. Like this was like a big. It was like an educational film for like Down syndrome kids, which was really funny because I got to sit on a bunch of like speech and drama classes with a bunch of Down syndrome kids, and they were just like really sweet. She comes up and she goes, "I want to thank everyone who made this movie possible. And just a reminder, this movie was 10 minutes long and was animated solely by me." And she went through 5 or 6 different people, and she goes, "And John, who also helped out." And that was it.
Jesus fucking Christ. Not surprised.
I also wrote the script to the movie. Like,
what the hell?
Yeah, but you know, and John.
And
John, who also helped out.
The animator.
Yeah.
I'm making that our log line, and John who also helped.
We had a great run on Let's What It Was. 12 long years of happiness. Thanks, Steve and Bryan. And John who also helped out. Should have made the chair red.
Okay, I got another one here.
Yep.
It's from Crossbone, who is a skeleton man without a skeleton plan.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah. Hey, handsome, cute, and beautiful. You know who you are. Recently, I found myself getting into finding stickers for my clipboard and laptop. It makes my stuff look rad. Do you guys have any cool stickers? If so, what do you stick them to?
I sticker the shit out of everything. I love stickers.
I love stickers, but I'm too scared to stick them.
But that's it. You can't be afraid. Just stick them places. You'll always get new stickers. There's always more stickers.
So one time, a very dear friend handed me 2 stickers, and it was a really cute drawing of a little anime girl with glasses on. And then my friend, who is female, told me it's a girl with cum on her glasses.
Sweet.
I stuck it to my PC, and I still have the other one, and it's a precious memory, so I don't do anything with it.
I have an Edelgard sticker from your Rebecca Niamh, and I don't know what to do. Like it's safe in like this plastic case.
I feel like, Bryan, you're veering very dangerously close to someone who has a sticker book.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should get a sticker book. That's fun. Sticker books are great. I've stickered my laptop. All my desk is stickered. I've stickered my settee.
My favorite is like a densely stickered sketchbook. I think that's really nice.
It's a cool aesthetic.
Then when you reach for it, you're kind of inspired by all the cool art you have. I have a sticker book with like stickers from Rebecca, stickers from like Callisto, like a bunch of people we like.
My Rebecca a few weeks ago got a new suitcase for cons and all of that, because the old one, the wheels went out on it. So she got a big suitcase, but it had this really awful flower butterfly like accented design on one of the corners, and she was like, I don't like this, and I was like, let's sticker this shit out of it. And we ended up using like stickers I didn't like as the undercoat, and then the stickers we did like on top.
There you go.
And it was a really, really fun technique.
Yeah, a few of my stickers are up there. They're not the undercoat.
No.
But Scream Dog is there. I have like Rebecca's Touch Me, Touch Me, Touch Me frog on my laptop.
That's great.
It's very good. It's like a holographic frog sticker. But yeah, I just love stickering things. I think life is too short not to use your stickers.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you have a nice laptop there. Just put one in the corner. Just a favorite one right in the bottom corner.
Okay.
Then you'll be much happier.
I have my USB-C hub because Macs only use USB-C now. So I have to get a hub to convert into, other outlets.
Another winning decision by Mac.
The answer is stop buying Mac, Brian.
Yeah. Shouldn't I?
You never will. Not in a million fucking ways.
I'm one of those people who grew up in a Macintosh house. I'm that weird family. You were told, they've shit games and they don't have Sims.
Yep. But I mean, if you it has like the dots at the top of the windows, that's confusing.
Yeah. But my USB-C hub has stickers, and one of them says "bad data, corrupted file."
That's pretty fun.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have another email here. Oh, this requires cognitive decision making.
I think I can do it.
Okay. Ren, one-off cartoon characters. Hello, Bryan, Niamh, and John. You are approached by a casting director about voicing a one-off character for a show. What show are you in? What is the character's design and vibe? And what is their storyline for the episode? Alternatively, are there any one-off characters where the performance, story, or design really stands out?
I feel like this is one of those questions that's infinitely harder to answer about yourself. Could we maybe do a rotation thing where we pick for each other? Is that an option, or is this just too much?
No, I think that's...
I have a name for my character. Her name is Pizwiz.
Pizwiz is really, really good.
And she's a stoner with one eye.
Is she a bird?
Good.
Yeah, sure. She's a bird.
She's a one-eyed bird?
One-eyed bird, and she just smokes weed all the time.
Yeah. It'd be cool if she was like a jay and she's smoking a jay.
Yeah.
Does she have shoes?
No, that's weird. The bird's feet are its hands.
Oh, okay. So she actually uses her wings exclusively for flying. And when she's
for rolling, but mostly flying.
And when she's perched, are they like tucked in?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And she's visited by teens, let's say Steven Universe, and they're like, they need a ride somewhere, and she drives them stoned and goes straight off a cliff. That's the real ending of Steven Universe.
I think it'd be cool if she was like this like PSA drug warning character, but she does such a like bad job at warning them, and they're actually like, no, we should smoke one up.
Yeah.
Let's smoke one up with Pizwiz.
I know, it'd be a really bad PSA for children. I think everyone should try drugs, like very sincerely.
Maybe you gave me some weed recently.
Yeah.
And I smoked some, and then I got into bed, and Michelle was like, "What is that smell?" And she was really pissed off, and I was like, "Oh no." And so then she went home recently, so I was like, "Oh shit, I better smoke the rest of this weed while Michelle isn't here." And then I smoked 4/5 of it, and then I remember you being like, "Now, John, like one inhale and then stop. Don't follow your thoughts." And I was like, "Uh-oh." And I got immensely high and immensely out of it, and I got really nauseous, and then I recorded a long rambling audio message for Michelle, and it was bizarre.
Oh my god.
I think I have it here. Do you guys want to hear it? Is that boring? I don't know.
No, I want to hear your like fucking zooted.
I love emails and how these tangents come out of here.
This is totally... I haven't listened to it since I did it, but this is totally going to be like, I love you so much. So no judgment for that.
Okay.
It's like 3.5 minutes long.
That's perfect.
Only I'm reserving the right to edit parts of this out if it's too weird. Hey Michelle, you're not here, so I'm recording a message for you. Rebecca left a little bit ago. This is Brian's Rebecca. We had just enjoyed a nice night. Because I only had like 3 beers, and I've only had 3 beers. That's all I've drank. But I also smoked the rest of Niamh's weed, and I've been having a lot of thoughts the last couple of minutes, and I wanted to tell you some of it because I miss you so much, my little babe. She's gone for the weekend. I already missed her. To come back so that me and you can kind of hang out, and I'm pretty sure I'll have the drawer fixed by then. I don't know what I meant by that. I woke up in the morning and the drawer was fine. Walking down. I was walking into our bedroom and I wanted to listen to Bob Odenkirk's book, which by now I have no doubt told you all about. Fucking sober John, right? Like yap, fucking yap every second. But yeah, Bob Odenkirk's book. I smoked all of these weed. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but this anecdote doesn't work if I don't say that. But yeah, no, Rebecca left and we had a lovely time. I'm gonna stop there. That's my character.
You never listened to me.
No, and I paid for it. 'Cause Jesus Christ, like this. I think this was the stage when I was okay, but like I have no idea how long later.
Yeah.
But
Did you get paranoid?
I didn't get paranoid,
Okay, well, that's
but
alright.
I was trying. My idea was to put on the Bob Odenkirk book and like fall asleep. But then there was like a point where I was like in bed and I was like gripping the mattress and like Bob Odenkirk's voice was ringing through the darkness, and I got this intense urge of like, I need to turn off this audiobook right now. And then I did, and I had a horrible hour, which you told me not to smoke that much, so fair enough, but Jesus, it was not pleasant.
For anyone listening, this was a sativa dominant, but also this is not weed that we're talking about. This is something legal here.
Yes.
Cheese. I said don't eat the brie.
Yeah,
Wait, this is CBD. It's fine.
It is.
I'm confused. I don't care.
I don't know.
Come and get me, pigs, is what I said.
Get Niamh, not you.
This could just be a made-up story.
Yeah, it's
It
all
could
made
be.
up. Like we can admit that like 90%
Percent.
of what we talk about on this thing isn't. Brian's name isn't even fucking Brian.
No,
Mm-hmm.
we are not that cool.
Yeah. This is a tightly scripted podcast. We have a writer's room. We do drafts. We have stand-ups. It's
Oh, I watched that last episode of the rehearsal.
fucking what a broken amazing show.
Did you watch it too?
Did you put it up?
No, I haven't put it up yet.
Well, then I haven't seen it, Brian.
Okay, I'll put it up.
I love how like Brian goes to the trouble of putting things up for us, and we get so shitty when he doesn't do it. Like I was in that before. It's like, well, where the fuck is it, Brian?
Episode 1 to 5, where's the finale?
That's the one you decide to drop the ball on. The finale,
I
Brian.
was visiting my folks for the weekend.
Doesn't matter.
Understandable, that's fine, Brian. Jesus, the 5th episode of that was so shocking to me.
This one's worse.
Okay.
Like, would you say that, Brian?
Yeah.
I couldn't get over like, oh wow, he can engage in like this part of like his like, you know, Jewish ancestry and like bring his kid into it, and then your one at the end is a fucking Zionist.
Yeah, that was such a like that was
was-
nearly a very sweet moment.
Yeah, it was, but that was it, and it was just like they could have went with the fiction of the reality moment, but he didn't, and he kept that bit in, and it was just like, oh my god, this is like, it's like you got one demon out of the house, and now you have another one in there.
There's one bit in the last episode, and it's like an actor is only on screen for approximately like 8 seconds, and it's genuinely upsetting.
Okay,
Yeah.
man.
Like I will say the last episode absolutely crossed over into like, oh Nathan, you have really fucked up. Like you have genuinely done something awful. But it was all great. It's like amazing television. I've watched 16 episodes of Nathan For You in the last 48 hours. It's good shit. I've also watched...
I love that security guard so much.
I've seen him 3 times now.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Nathan's Nook?
No.
It's so I've been watching Nathan's Nook and Nathan On Your Side.
Oh, the one with the laugh track.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work as well, but some of it's really funny because like just it's really interesting. He has YouTube videos from 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
He's great.
Okay, one-off character. Who will I be? Like, what animal am I? Like, John's a shark.
But then he can't be on land
No,
interacting with the rest.
Street shark.
Oh, okay.
The one with the rollerblades?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He had a cool stripe pattern.
Mm-hmm. He was a tiger shark.
Yeah.
Brian, you're a little frog.
Okay,
Little
thanks.
frog with dungarees.
Little frog with dungarees. He's a farmer. And he's farming that weed. Yeah.
Can I drive you around in my little car?
Oh, yeah.
It's a Barbie convertible.
I love the color pink. I don't know how to drive, and I don't plan to learn how to.
I just keep thinking, just gotta wait it out for a little bit longer and those robots will take care of it.
Yeah.
Until we have to pay them, that's gonna be great.
I was talking to my dad about learning how to drive. My dad said, look, you're past it, Brian, and you know what? It actually works out cheaper if you just get a bunch of taxis a couple times a year. Because owning a car, maintaining a car, paying for the petrol, all of that.
I would 100% believe that.
Yeah, it's probably actually cheaper to not own a car.
Yeah.
Because we are in close proximity to everything. Except maybe like industrial parks where you need to buy paint. Or, well, no, there's that paint.
Yeah, you can get the Lewis
Yeah.
to Woody's.
Yeah.
You can work it out. Any like one-time characters from things really stand out to you?
It's just coming towards my head is that the Poochie thing, but that was like a piss take on.
That's a good example though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Such
or
an
Bart's
iconic
like
episode.
fucked up brother who lives in the attic.
Oh, Hubert.
Hubert, yeah.
Yeah. I really like Knuckles in that one episode of Sonic Underground because that's not Knuckles. It's this weird fucking thing that is pretending to be Knuckles, and it sucks.
I've never seen that.
You should look at Sonic Underground Knuckles. It's a fucking shame.
That one episode of The Simpsons. This is always so weird. I probably told this on one point on this 7-year podcast, but Armin Tanzarian episode where Skinner isn't real Skinner.
Yeah.
Girl at the train station. There's like this sequence at the end where they tie Skinner, fake Skinner, to a train.
Yeah, the Martin Sheen Skinner.
There's one incidental character in that sequence that for some reason really, really fucking stood out to me. And there was something about her I was like, I can never get, like, what? Why was that design? Why is that stuck in my head so much? And eventually I looked it up, and it was the winner of a contest
Oh,
who had been put into The Simpsons as an incidental character.
okay.
That's nice, I guess.
So she just stood out to you because she was,
like a weird Simpsonified human.
yeah.
I couldn't even tell you why at the time, but yeah.
I like some of Bart's love interests that are only in one episode, like Lovejoy's daughter.
She was great.
She's fucking brilliant. And then the other, the older teenage girl who lives next door on the other side. But her mom's in a couple episodes, but I think the daughter's only in one episode.
Choose Goose from Adventure Time. I think he's in more than one episode, but he cracks me up every single time.
I like in season 1 Adventure Time, there's that creature that only eats drawings. I think he's only in one episode. He's from like the first batch of 6 episodes. I can't remember what he's called, but it's a really good idea for cartoon character.
I love it. I think Adventure Time is just like a gold mine for one-off characters, but there's that cat where the evil cat who's like, he's like, hello, Jim the human. And Finn's like, that's almost my name. And he's like, I have approximate knowledge of many things.
Yeah, fucking.
I gotta go back and watch Adventure Time again.
The specials are great.
Oh, they're so good. What else we got, Brian?
Flamingorl asks, comfort foods. Howdy from Australia. What are your all's go-to comfort foods? Does comfort food change because of factors like the weather? That is true.
Oh, whatever's fucking near me. Jesus Christ.
I had a slushie the other day and it really hit the spot.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't want an ice cream because I didn't want to be filled up because it was 4 o'clock and dinner was at 6.
Okay.
So I didn't want to have an ice cream because ice cream gives me a big belly. So I got a frozen slushie because I knew that was just going to be water.
Brian, let me tell you about sorbet.
No, like this
Sorbet and
was,
slushy are base.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
very similar.
and this was half Coca-Cola, half Blue Fanta. And it was fucking brilliant.
Niamh?
Smoothie. I love a good smoothie. I made a really good one the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It had banana, it had
Okay,
mango.
of course. Yeah, banana, mango are go-tos for
Yeah.
a smoothie.
That was solid foundation.
Okay, avocado,
Whoa.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see that.
some yogurt, some honey,
Yeah.
some lime juice.
Like, there's no fruit combination lime
bad.
juice will make
Yeah.
worse. Lime juice is
Yeah.
just great all the time.
Yeah.
And then I put some turmeric in it
Interesting.
for a kick. And it worked.
A little peanut butter in a smoothie can be real good.
I know, but then that's like really like the dominant one. That's like a peanut butter banana smoothie. You kind of go with that.
You are kind of committing to a genre
Yeah.
of smoothie at that point. I will literally eat pancakes all fucking day.
Oh, same. I love pancakes.
Do you get for pancakes or French toast?
Pancakes.
Yeah, definitely. Like pancakes
French
are
toast
my
is
go-to.
great, but-
French toast is maybe like a restaurant thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of pancakes are we talking?
We're talking crepes,
Crepes. Yeah, no.
not pancakes. And like a lot of American pancakes.
Yeah, like for me, I can have one American pancake and then it just becomes this weird, like, tasteless dough.
With a lot of the places in America, and granted, this was like a lot of IHOP and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
this is
they're
kind of
not
what you're
good.
expecting. But like, they put sugar in the pancakes, And it's like, it doesn't need it. The maple syrup has the sweetness.
Yeah, I really don't like IHOP. I was disappointed by IHOP.
Yeah.
And I got the birthday cake pancakes.
I think I did too.
There's just too much.
Yeah. But see, like, I love French toast because, like, that's when you want a thicker, you know, egg stack.
Okay, here's what I'd say about French toast. Pancakes, I think, are a little bit of a simpler thing to make.
Yeah.
In that, like, there's only so many ways a pancake can go wrong. There's actually there's like a lot of ways to season French toast, and there's a lot of ways to treat the egg, and it can burn much more easy. I think French toast, a max level French toast is going to be tastier than a max level pancake, but the median pancake taste is going to be superior to the average piece of French toast.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the way.
like it's much easier to fuck up French toast than it is to fuck up a pancake.
Yeah, if I'm at a fancy restaurant, I want their French toast. I don't want their pancakes because there's more opportunity.
Yeah, it's done by a professional, so it's gonna be good.
That's why I order like vegan food when I'm in a restaurant, because I'm like, these people will do it really right.
Yeah, it's got some consideration. Because why wouldn't it? I really like pulled pork burgers.
I'm not a fan of pulled pork.
I love pulled pork so much.
I always feel like I'm eating a wrong burrito.
I like when they're messy. It's like the only messy food I enjoy eating.
I had a jackfruit.
Oh, jackfruit's
Taco the
amazing.
other day?
It's such
No,
a good
it's
I had
alternative
one of
to
them
pulled
before,
pork.
yeah. Was this Thundercook?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is great.
Jackfruit's fantastic.
I love food. I love eating food.
me
Like
too.
anything's a snack.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Shovel it into me.
I had the most amazing steaks like 2 weeks ago, and it was like better than seeing a good movie. Like I came away from that restaurant feeling like I had experienced art. Like I was so happy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So there you go. Thank you very much for that email.
The steak. Okay, look, Niamh, I know men do the whole rare steak thing. I get it. But sometimes you order rare steak at a restaurant and they're like, we don't do rare steak because they don't want to food poison you. This guy gave me the fucking rarest steak, and
It was still beating.
It was trying to get away, Brian. I've never been so happy. Oh my god, it was just very good.
Patreon shoutouts.
Patreon shoutouts.
Patreon.com/LFAB. We got a bunch of new patrons. Thank you so much for pledging for your patronage. Thank you for the money.
It's pronounced patronizing, Brian.
Patronizing us.
Patronizing. Patronizing's a different thing.
Wreaking havoc.
Yep. That's it.
Causing havoc. Causing money to... causing cash flow.
Yeah.
Thank you. This podcast is 100% Patreon funded. We don't do the ads. We'd prefer not to. Helping out from you guys means a lot.
Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah.
And what's way more important than that is it's the only way to experience Niamh's big gay road trip. Is that what you guys called it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mine and Oni's big gay road trip through Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And thank you everyone for the lovely comments on it. I was surprised that many people gave a shit. But you did.
It's always a nice feeling, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
It's cool that they want to hear Oni's voice as well. Because sometimes he edits in his voice to correct mistakes we made.
Aww.
And so it's from a couple of weeks back. He was like, you said the wrong thing there. And I was like, dude, just say it over me and it'll be really funny because our voices are on like completely different ranges.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
so soft-spoken and I'm so deep in baritone, I guess. And like, it's just a funny gag. And so it's just cool to hear him like talking continuously with Niamh.
Sometimes when you shoot like a live action section of a video, like to get back to that position, so if you say something wrong or mispronounce something and you only have that take, to get back to that position, you either have to do the entire setup again, which is like literally a whole day, or you have to try and overdub yourself. And I have several sections in live action videos that are completely overdubbed and no one's ever noticed.
Wow.
It's really hard to keep up that like momentum with that particular pitch in your voice.
It's really, really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I go the complete opposite direction and make it really obvious, and that's just funny.
Yeah. We have a section on our super cool Discord called Patreon Shoutouts. If you type something 2 years ago, it'll sound something like this. John, this first one is for you.
Send help. I am held hostage by John in his basement, and he has been telling me the story of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho for the past 3 months.
Who's that from?
No one would ever last more than a month. That is from Miyuk.
Okay, this one is from Pexitron. Says, Niamh may be the podcast queen, but Bryan is the Discord dad. Thank
How do
you.
you feel about that, Bryan? Because sometimes we say you're a dad and you get really angry.
Yeah. But as I get older, I get more accepting of it. Sometimes I'm walking down the street and like there'll be like someone like a parent with a child, and they'll be like, "Watch out now, sweetie, there's a man in the way."
Oh, I was.
I'm not a man.
I saw this old lady take the fucking roughest spill I have seen in a long time. It was a full. This was obviously a woman who hadn't, used her body in many a year, which is absolutely her right. But she clipped her toe in like the Lewis tracks and full on forward, arms out, full on like face bounce when she hits the ground. And I was like, and I was looking at her and I was like, please be okay, please be okay, please be okay. And she got up and like her face was proper busted. I felt so bad for her.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then I was like, get off the fucking road. Jesus Christ. Horrifying.
Okay, this is from Griggs. Please give a shout out to my buddy Wei, who listens to this podcast. Wei, you may not be dating my sister anymore, but I still think you're a cool dude with good taste in podcasts. Also, our dad says hi. Niamh, please say hi in my dad's voice for Wei. Many thanks.
I think, let's say his dad is like 200 years old. Go, Niamh.
Oh my god.
Do like a hello.
Sure.
Oh dear dad, what's going on?
I'm not having a good time. Wei isn't part of the family anymore. Your bitch sister dumped him.
That's so good.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Only I'm sweating a bucket.
That's one of the best Patreon shoutouts we've ever got.
Oh, whoa, that's so good.
Blatant is never dead says, if Bryan, John, and Niamh were on the moon and Bryan hit John with a rock, would that be fucked up or what?
No, because I'd parry it and then I'd use my bullet technique where I'd spin around 360 degrees and throw the rock back at Bryan. I have too much karate in me for something like that to work.
It's not true at all.
That happened to me once.
On the moon, yeah?
No, someone tried to shoot me and I fucking redirected the forward. It's a lot of complex martial arts stuff and I'm not going to explain it to you, Rune.
Okay. Niamh, this next one is for you.
This is for PhD is the big. One day it'll happen, and when it does, I hope you enjoy it because I really want the vest for you.
I love the idea that this was like a thoughtful message and they just didn't realize the typo in it, and now it's going to be another 2 years before they... Lance Maverick. John, watch Symphogear. Nah.
Okay, so can we talk about the Symphogear guy?
This fucking guy. Oh my god.
Okay, Niamh, I don't know if we ever told you about the Symphogear guy.
I don't know.
Okay, so at MagFest 2020, John had a couple of panels. And one of the panels was during the day, and this guy comes up and he goes, hey, John, I sent you a video a couple months back, and you said you said you'd watch it. Did you watch it?
So no, this is not quite true. He just says, why didn't you watch the video I made you about Symphogear?
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's what he said.
And so John was like, I didn't watch it, and then there was kind of a weird like.
Everyone was like, ooh.
And then John goes, okay, you know what? Tweet it at me, and I'll watch it in the hotel room in the next half hour. And we go up to the hotel room because John needs to just unwind after the panel, and I'm doing a thing in the bathroom, and I come out.
I had to get my back rub from Bryan. Yeah. It's okay, Ryan. I get very stressed at these things.
He does, and I enjoy trying to hurt John, but John just feels pleasure.
Okay, back to Symphogear.
Anyway, so John puts on the video on his phone, and it's called "Hey Wooly, Watch Symphogear."
This little motherfucker.
And then we see him at the same panel later on with Wooly, and he's trying to get Wooly's attention about Symphogear, and John's like, no, don't talk to that guy. And he's like, what, did you watch my video? Do you like Symphogear?
So, okay, you know what? because of that guy, never watching Symphogear.
And this
ever.
this is definitely a different guy.
Yeah, definitely. It could be the same guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just really, really like
But I don't know.
Symphogear.
If anyone ever is like, hey, why didn't you watch me that video I sent you? I just want to put it out there that I would say on average nowadays, I will get about... I would say a quiet day would be about 10 different videos a day. If I watched each one of them, that would be about 6 hours a day. That's why I don't watch videos when people send them to me.
He doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm. And he has
If
to
your
put up with
videos-
his friends telling him to watch things anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. That is kind of part of it as well, though. I just want to fucking find my own shit and interact with the people I know.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Loot drop.
Loot drop.
You guys have anything? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know I have something. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any either. Maybe I'll add something in. I've been
Yeah.
listening to Orville Peck's Bronco album a lot. And that's a good album.
Put that
But-
in.
Okay, a friend of mine, Liam Edwards, recently released a game called Crust to Golf. I have not played Crust to Golf yet, but I did do some play testing on it. He's my friend, so this is not a recommendation of like this is a great game, but I'm super proud of him, and currently it's reviewed really well. Got a 9 from GameSpot, reviewed positively by Polygon, IGN, a bunch of different places. Seems like it's a good game. I can't say one way or another because I have not played the finished product yet, but Liam's a lovely man and he's been a really good mate to me, and I think people should give it a go. Curse to Golf, it's on everything. I will talk about it properly at some point,
Yeah,
but also with
get better.
But also with the caveat of Liam is my friend, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt or whatever you think that warrants.
That is true. I don't know what I'm going to loot drop, but it's going to be it'll be something.
I also like that Bush song, Glycerine. Sometimes I like to listen to that and get real sad. It's a good song.
Do you want that down in your
Yeah, that'll be your loot drop, Brian. That's your loot drop from me.
I'm going to...
As the days go by. It sounds like that.
I'm going to say Bryan and John's loot drop.
What's your favorite Bush song, Brian?
Glycerine.
It's pretty good.
I don't know. Who's Bush?
Look, I'm going to be real with you, Brian. Someone put that song on at a party once, and it became one of my favorite songs ever, and I never listened to a single other Bush song, because that's not how I work.
Bush is a British rock band that formed...
Fuck off, they're British?
They formed in 1992, and they have been making albums consistently for 30 years. Holy shit.
Can we put Glycerine on just for a second? Just for a second, and we'll talk over it so we don't get copyrighted.
Yeah, sure. It's probably easier to do this on my phone because I'm using my computer to capture the audio and I don't want to, confuse the channels. Bush, Glycerine.
This is going to be the best way we end an episode ever. So good.
I doubt it.
Oh god, this looks like... I'm going to have an actual loot drop. I just don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure it'll
This
be...
is it, Brian. This is what you love.
Yep.
But you know what?
Play your favorite song.
Maybe it'll be like, Brian doesn't have a loot drop this episode because remember we were like, we don't have to do it sometimes.
Yeah,
You don't
we
have to do it. I don't think we ever had to do it.
It kind of felt like we had to.
Well, that's only because I was enforcing it that you had to.
Okay, I'm just going to skip this fucking ad.
Yep.
John,
Yeah.
do you like those ads before your video?
They make me money, so yeah.
Okay.
This is like a shittier Creed.
What do you mean shittier Creed? And we're done. Only good looking at that.
64 million views uploaded 10 years ago.
Whoa, holy shit.
Oh my god, YouTube has been around for 17 years, I think, if
Yeah.
you really start from the back.
2005.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Bye.